Welcome back, Deadlockers. If you're just joining us, it's the night shift, and it's going to be Bunny with Clock taking on Melee Creeps here in our NA Money Match Best of 3. Of course, Big Dog's the champions over the last few weeks. Almost, are they on a 2-month streak? It's nearly there, Dan. Melee Creeps, you got to expect them to be the heavy favorite, but Bunny with Clock losing Boshpop, gaining Matt, seems that they've become even stronger.
It's really interesting because Poshipop tends to play these M1 carries and farm more farm heavy roles, and Matt loves to play the playmakers. And so, I mean, I love the utility that can bring to a team, because there is if I just think of Matt as a player, I'll always remember how he has a mega impact, or how he had mega impact in my first games of watching him on Holiday, where he could, even games where all of his lanes are getting completely wrecked. As soon as he comes online, like in the 8 to 10 minute mark, he starts roaming with the Holiday. He's able to make really outsized impact. And so I love this look for them, and I love the comp that they went with. It was really awesome to see.
Yeah, it was one that I think Melee Creeps are going to have to potentially address, especially with Bunny with Clock. They opened with, I believe, the Doorman ban in the last game, which is something that you could equally apply to Melee Creeps, who are probably the team most out of anyone in NA to use the Doorman, whether it's Gunman with John or something else. But Melee Creeps, they're a challenging team to pin down. I think with somebody like Saya at a lot of these playmaking decisions in terms of what kind of interesting draft to come out with. This is a team that's very hard to predict, very very high skill, and there's a reason they've won so many DLNSs back to back to back now. I mean, just across the board, every player is maybe best in class in NA, and it's going to be a scary one. As look, that Melee Creeps, the cat in the business suit, pretty much dominating all comers. For what? That's 6 night shifts in a row, 7 in a row,
8.
and that you're going for 8 today.
No, that's
no, you're right. It
9?
is 8 because they won the
9
one before it. They're just on the other side of the left right.
A tricky graphic, but yeah, this is crazy. You're totally right when you said 2 months. It's bang on. So really impressive from them. I mean, this is the kind of dominance that we hadn't really seen in this region since the old Hydronation days. And obviously we already saw the problems now that it's the remnants of the hydration rosters, I suppose. So I'm going to be curious to see kind of what's in store for them in the future. If there's any more mix-ups to be had, or if they feel like there's just some stuff that they can work on. Because sometimes on the outside it looks worse than it really is on the inside, when you just need a few little tweaks here, swap a position there, and then it can all work out. So we'll keep our eyes on that. But for now, Jake, we got to keep our eyes on this final, because it could be a really good one. I know Melee Creeps are a great team, but I do feel like what we saw just a moments ago was really could make they could really give a run for Melee Creeps' money if they continue to play like that.
Absolutely. I think a lot is going to come down, especially at the draft, because things seem to have shifted a bit, despite there not being a major patch over the last week. I think teams through the break have just innovated a bit, adjusted the way they're approaching the game in terms of whether it's the pick ban or the play style that they go for. And Melee Creeps, we'll see if I think they take a lot of a break here too. I don't think they're necessarily like grinding out in major scrims over the holiday. And so I really feel like there's an opportunity over a couple-week break for things to kind of shake up and maybe change the standings. And I think that's obviously what you're hoping for as Bunny with Clock, that you can upset this team that has kind of batted you back time and time again. I mean, the weight of expectation is against you, but Aiden arguably making his debut on gun carry now that Poshpop's off the team could be a difference maker. I mean, that was a fantastic showing in the last game, and on pretty much every role we've ever seen Aiden play, he's looked insane. I mean, I think originally people were thinking this guy as a Vindicta one trick, trying to always ban it against him. Then he started playing the Mina. Now he's onto the Warden, and I'm starting to ask the question, maybe he's not so limited, right? As people maybe once thought.
Yeah. Honestly, back when John surfaced ages ago, when I first saw him, I was hearing, this is the Warden one trick, like,
exactly.
And if you didn't see him on Warden, you're like, oh, okay, it's one of those, or like do one pocket, there's just some of these like iconic matchups where you're like, it's just a one trick. But in reality, he's getting his breakout moment here, and he's performing really well. I can't wait to see what he's going to do in the ultimate test here. And speaking of John, here is the Melee Creeps roster on our screens, and just back to front. It's at this point, what could you say other than it's a star-studded lineup?
Yeah, I mean, Saya plays lots of these like unconventional heroes and makes them look like the meta. John playing some of these like heavy gun carry frontliners, especially like Geist and Warden. And Ido pretty much plays whatever, but you kind of want him on some ultra high skill character, right? You want him on something where it's really up to his individual skill expression. It's something you can really rely on. DMB is honestly one of the longest standing, carry role players that we've had in NA, has been, on one of the top teams for almost a year now in Deadlock. So really building a name for himself in the scene. And Scout and Fishcake looking very solid, whatever you give them on typically a little bit more of like the supporty low econ side of the draft, but they're both heroes who can also, or players rather, who can also handle themselves with a bit more farm. So it's a team that's very hard to predict, it's very hard to pin down, and it feels like whatever they go for in terms of the draft and the playstyle, it ends up looking dominant and incredibly effective. So Bunny with Clock, I wonder if they've really thought about this match. I feel like you can't even prep for melee creeps because they can play so many different characters. I think you just have to kind of go into it with your game plan and try to just execute cleaner than you've done before.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. I think time and again when we've seen teams trying to draft against them, there's just too many problems. It's like you can't circumnavigate it at all, or circumvent. That's the word I wanted. You can't circumvent it at all.
Yeah, you can't like block everything that melee creeps want to do. And honestly, as soon as you start thinking that way, you end up in the passenger seat of the game, right? You're not really in control. Bunny with Clock gonna open. I believe they opened with the Doorman ban last time, so I actually like to see this, that they're kind of running the same draft as before. That says to me that they're drafting more for their own preference and their own idea of the game, rather than allowing it to, like letting the game come to them, rather than trying to chase after melee creeps and deny some of their key picks.
It's also one of those nightmare picks for John, which is perhaps the player that gets targeted the most. Like, you want to ban basically all of his heroes. The Doorman, the Geist, has been another one that can cause problems. But I do wonder, if Geist is going to feel as much of a threat right now.
In the last game, so I wonder if she'll see play at all. And again, just Mina snagged first. I mean, Arctic put on a phenomenal show on this character last game. Like, was a huge threat at all stages. Had a great early game, mid game, and then ultra late was a real problem in some of these deep team fights. But with the pocket band, you won't have that double threat of like ultra mobile high damage characters.
Yeah, and if we see Billy here, Shiv gets open, so it's the first time today we'll see Shiv get the opening priority. Obviously, Billy's still available, and it's very interesting. I wonder if melee creeps are like, yeah, Matt, he actually looks great on pocket. He's really good on pocket, but Holiday is the only thing that we otherwise would be concerned with, and this Holiday's not super great right now. So they may feel like that just dealt with Matt completely. So we'll have to see, because maybe Matt will play something else and look just as good. But the Shiv Billy opening, that's a nice starting too.
I mean, it's nice to deny Matt the momentum to play the same hero back to back that he's just warmed up on in a big game. But also, you just take out Pocket, take out Affliction, and then you go for two of these heavy frontliners that are typically quite vulnerable to being afflicted and Affliction normally can't finish a kill. But taking Pocket away now, I think this is a remarkably strong opener for melee creeps. I mean, two of the best frontliners in the game, no Affliction to deal with them. Falls in Bunny with Clock's Court, and they go with the Kelvin here. It's a really interesting choice, but I like it because I think there's a massive problem you have to solve in this draft, which is how the hell do you deal with this front line? And maybe inside the Kelvin Dome with the Warden, maybe some more picks down the draft to bring that high damage, and maybe Shiv and Billy isolated, you could just burst them down.
They could get Page here as well. This would be okay. They get Geist instead. So they lock in the Geist.
Whoa.
That's really interesting. So will Bunny with Clock ban the Page? Because I feel like you kind of need to ban the Page, because the other thing about Page is that her ult goes through the Kelvin Dome, so it's like a very nice way to support for any teammates that get trapped in there. And obviously the combo with Billy is ridiculous, as well as Shiv, as well as Geist, really anyone at this point.
I got better things to do than getting shot at.
There has to be a Page ban here.
Yeah, I agree.
Or they're mental.
I agree. I would really be surprised with any other ban here. I think it's kind of would be a perfect pick for melee creeps at this moment in the draft. Geist is also strong into Warden because you have that uncontrollable damage in the front line. I think that's less of an issue as Gun Warden, where maybe you can be a little bit longer range against the Geist and still get that value. But melee creeps is going for this like all-in overwhelming front line, and there's been games we've seen where Kelvin the dome hasn't been enough. But honestly, I think Bunny with Clock still with 3 picks in the draft, they just need to draft, I think, a little bit more of like stuff you cannot stay in the dome with, right? Because right now I can see some of these melee creeps frontliners living through the dome, right? And being a continued problem deeper into the team fight. There's also the problem of just the pace of the game, because you go with Lash, and yeah, dome is going to be really effective, and maybe you're not going to be able to win too many of these fights when the dome comes into play, but if you're winning outside the dome, if you're, getting trades around the map, you're playing too high of a tempo where dome's on CD, there's other ways to deal with this Kelvin in the long run. For now, Bunny the Clock just grab a Paradox to maybe help catch, which I guess in order to dome them, you got to catch them first. So it makes sense in that regard.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was thinking BWC would have been fun for them to pick up the Lash, but obviously got taken away because you're thinking about things that do well against the heavy front line, ways to get picks against them, ways to kind of disrupt them. You're thinking about Lash, so it's a nice deny pick. The Yamato comes through again, so Gibbs did really well there, and they might just get Viscous left over, but would they get Viscous given that Kelvin's on board? I don't know, because they built Viscous into Gun into support later, so maybe Tanner just gets Viscous and does any kind of build. Whoa, all right, okay.
Viper. I mean, I think Scout plays a lot of this Viper with like the homeless style, just showing up with a ton of rotations. So this is very much an early game tempo pick, but I almost like that vision for Melee Creeps, because I think if you get late enough in the game, I think the Kelvin Dome kind of falls off in a way in terms of like the healing from the Kelvin Dome is nice, but if you're full build late game, like it's not necessarily going to change the outcome of the fight. And if Shiv gets something like an ethereal shift or a metal skin, he might be able to actually live through even something like the dome. So Melee Creeps, I think they're playing to kind of tempo this game out, put a lot of pressure on sooner rather than later. And we saw Bunny the Clock get to that absurd late game in the last series, and we'll see if they're able to do it again. I think Melee Creeps pretty clearly want to close this game out, in that maybe on the underside of 30 minutes. Bunny with Clock, though, I do think once they get to that full build status, things could get a little bit scary. And with stuff like Viper maybe falling off in the late game, I could see Bunny with Clock just surviving and keeping this match close, and maybe even turning it in their favor. So Melee Creeps, bit of an unconventional draft for them. We'll see if it works out, especially as it guards tempoing out and getting that early advantage.
So we got Kelvin, and did they have Paradox BWC last time?
Yeah, they did. I think it was Cool Cheese on the Paradox last time. So a lot, so 5 out of 6 Kelvin are going to be the same, right? And just, the question is Matt going to play the Kelvin, or is it going to be swapped around a little bit? I love the idea of just keeping people on the same hero they just played. They're warm. They're thinking about their builds. Like, they're just more comfortable maybe than they would be trying to play a new hero in the series. But I'm not sure Matt's hero pool, how comfortable from Pocket to Kelvin is kind of about as far of a swap as you can make in terms of your role in the game.
Yeah, and it is very interesting. I wonder, what kind of builds are we going to see from the Kelvin? What kind of play style are we going to see from the Kelvin? Because you are replacing that 70k damage.
I'm feeling a gun Kelvin game. It's actually an insane thing to say, but I'm kind of feeling it this game. I feel like one thing I do like about Gun Kelvin is like the Thunderdome aspect of like, you don't need a teammate in the dome with you to clean up kills. You are the fighter in the pit there when you dome in with like a Shiv or something. If you end up getting full build on Gun Kelvin, you're pretty hard to 1v1. Generally, I think you actually do become a huge issue. And so I kind of can see that this game, but I could also see, hey, build some Spear, build some Heal Nova, make sure you survive the early game, because that is probably the issue in this draft.
Yeah, and it's definitely, if Matt is on Kelvin, I gotta say, I'm super curious, because I've just never seen, I think I've ever seen Matt not play a playmaker. So it's just, maybe he gets put onto something else. I don't know. We can't wait to find out, how they're going to play it. But yeah, one thing that was cool was seeing how previously we saw the opening gun build from Tanner on Viscous. Maybe you just go full carry Viscous. Maybe you go full express shot, Phantom Strike Viscous, and just super bursty. I don't know.
Yeah, I still think there's a lot, even the drafts being done here, I think Bunny with Clock have a lot of options as far as how they end up strategizing, who's going to get the econ this game. I think it's probably pretty fair to say, Warden and Mina are going to be your heavy hitters from a damage perspective. And given that you have Yamato as well, maybe it does make more sense to just support as Kelvin and get, some of those healing items online and allow you to sustain through the front line, because Billy, Shiv, Geist, this is going to be a major triple threat problem. Geist is another one of those characters where in the ultra late game, draft-wise, I still favor Bunny with Clock, but Geist alone in the ultra late game is really scary. Swap ends up being insane, and Geist just raw damage. Basically every skill she has does huge damage in the team fight, and once your gun build is like crazy online, you get that spell slinger in the late game, things get a little bit scary, and even Warden and Yamato, I don't feel super great about their chances.
Well, into it we go. The first map here of our best of 3 for the money match. here for the first Deadlock night shift North America of 2026. And you've got melee creeps against Bunny with Clock. And just out of the gate on the lanes, what do you like in here? I mean, do you expect the Viper to have a big lane? I mean, that's what Viper's supposed to do, right?
I do like the Viper and Geist lane, mostly because I think Viper, ironically, just wants to lead lane. I mean, you're okay on lane, but I think Viper is going to get, like, maybe one level up and then just start roaming, to be honest. And Geist is a pretty good hero to allow that. Like, let the Viper leave, get all the solo farm onto John, and that'll be extremely comfortable for the melee creeps. And probably just waiting to get, you know, the question is basically, do you want to get, like, 1 or 2 levels here in the early game? But let's see the other side lanes. It's Kelvin Viscous. Oh, so it's Arctic on the Viscous this time, and Gibbs on the Calvin. Tanner onto the Yamato. So they've done more or less a full swap. They picked almost all the same heroes, and I think it's only Aiden and Cool Cheese onto the same role.
All right, well, God, I'm just burning with curiosity in terms of the Viscous build. I feel like that's really what I'm in this for. No, actually,
it's
wait,
Arctic, so I think he's
Arctic's
full
on
carry.
it. Yeah. Okay.
I would assume full carry, because that's pretty much what Arctic has always played for this team. Really putting a lot of frontline pressure in. Scout, he wants to leave lane, but instead he ends up just dying in it. Can't quite get the level up, so good punish here from Bunny with Clock. I mean, it's a very conventional strong lane. Paradox plus Warden, you have great wave push, you have great damage and catch as well, so it's definitely a solid start for this lane in the mid for Bunny with Clock. Melee creeps, though, looking very good on the side lane, so this game is still incredibly even here as boxes spawn and teams think about starting to get active with some of these roams.
I love the versatility of this BWC lineup, because obviously we're getting Gibbs back onto the hard support with Kelvin, which I didn't even think about. But yeah, you know, typically he's going to play the hard support characters on this team. So let's see how that pans out, and you get Matt on Mina, so you can see that's action already, getting some good pressure, sending Fishcake back to base. I think already. I think
Chloe's in trouble.
Stick around.
Look who's here. It's Cool Cheese getting active, roaming, beating the Viper at her own game. Oh, hold on. The counter damage is good. They do end up bursting this one down. Question is, does Lash try to chase? Ido is a little bit too low on Lash to chase this out. Slaya does find Arctic in the other side lane. It's like a bit of a lane swap now with Viper coming over to the right side lane. Trying to help do what he can. Kelvin maybe sacking his life, just trying to clear any wave and deny some of this heavy push.
So a lot of aggression on this right side, we can see. The bomb's getting thrown. So that's definitely a good sign for BWC that they have good early lane control. I guess it's going to be... I mean, it is hard to be against Yamato and Mina. Even if you have a Shiv on the lane, and depending on the lane, I think Shiv will either spec like two skill points into the knives or 2 skill points into the dash. So the slice and dice. I feel like you can't really like play close on that lane. If you're against like Mina and Yamato, you just can't really like play close on that lane.
Yeah, it's like so much damage pressure. You know, even for Shiv, it's like you have resistance against burst, but in the laning phase, it doesn't really matter. Like, you're gonna take the damage sooner or later. You can clear some of that burst off, but in the end, there's still gonna be a lot of pressure coming in against you. You can see a lot of these roams, a lot of these contested boxes. Ido trying to take a bit of an early game fight. Ultimates should be coming online in the next few moments, though. Expecting, you know, some of these lanes to get a little bit more active once the ults come online. Scout finds Tanner, though, and in this like pre-ultimate state of the game, the Viper is really profiting, and that kill is going to really speed up some of that tempo. Arctic could be caught again, could be in big trouble. Yeah, taking heavy pressure now from Billy. Very wasted from the Kelvin, but the Viscous Punch does get him out of trouble. Both teams just maybe happy to just farm and get what they can out of the lanes, but a slight soul lead starting to open up towards the melee creeps.
Yeah, Aiden leading the way slightly for the BWC side, so that's kind of what you want to see on that reward in play. And more aggression from both sides here on the left lane. Billy having to charge on out, keep himself up, and damage exchange from both sides is pretty extreme at the moment.
A lot of pressure coming in. Ivy doing what she can to keep the wave pressure off. More players trying to come into this, but yeah, Yamato deep behind tower. taking a risk, but if both Ivy and Billy are low, and that Guardian ward here coming in as continuing to assist this as Gibbs. It's a bit of a problem here in the side lane. The trap is good enough. Parry drops Billy for the moment. Yamato trying to finish that kill with a big power slash. Is all on the parries now. One miss. He just spammed quick meleeing. Billy is so powerful when he does this in the lane, but I think Yamato should be able to finish this one off. Hold on, he's being blown away. Dropped in again. And Yamato may have just run out of gas. The full charge power slash is enough to get Billy's shield down, but it's not enough for the kill. And Saya, big save there on the Ivy.
Oh, that's tragic. That's an absolute tragedy there. The shield from the Ivy ult coming on through just to save the day. Oh, those big missed shots too.
Ido doing a little bit too much there, trying to be a little bit too tricky, playing for the wall jumps and just gets trapped.
Anyway, here comes Matt, looking to put the pressure on to Shiv, being played by Fishcake. That's always the dedicated Shiv player for this team. Lux Nostra reposition with the Sanguine retreat and back to safety. And in that exchange, it felt like BWC, the left lane exchange that we saw, it felt like BWC like a pretty good spot, but we'll see how things will actually look when we get to that 10-minute mark. It often feels like the impact in the first 5 to 6 minutes is as long as nothing like super catastrophic happens, like it's pretty easy to kind of minimize any problems you get into.
Yeah, I don't think the soul lead matters too much when it comes to those early game fights. It really depends on more of the later objectives. Big slam and misses though from Ido. Still has enough damage with the help of Scout to take down Arctic. I think the biggest advantage here is the mid lane for melee creeps. I mean, John's farming up an absolute storm from the mid, has cleared the Guardian, so has a lot of safety to continue to play in that position and clean up quite a bit of jungle camps in the meantime. Mac, there's a side Guardian, but it's being traded right back by Silent Scout. And yeah, and that mid lane differential is going to be very hard to come push into John, given his status of the game right now, off to a very huge lead. Gun investment for Saya. Maybe he'll build a little bit more supporty as the game goes on, but right now he has a lot of damage with the backstabber and the headhunter, so really do not want to tangle with this guy in the mid-game fights, and he's just roaming with Scout.
Yeah, we had a nice invasion from Bunny with Clock as well, stealing the Sinners on the right side. A lot of potential players here ready to gank on behalf of melee creeps in the middle of the map. They're going to disperse back towards the mid lane. A lot of movements here to catch all these Sinners. And taking a stock of things as well. 8.6k on Aiden, so he's doing pretty well on the farm. He's way ahead of everyone else on his team. But on the other side, John's at 10k.
Nice ulti there. Keeps him off the ground. Puts some counter damage onto Ido. Big catch, it comes in. Oh, diving a little bit too deep. You turn the corner for that kill, and you end up just getting swarmed down by the Viper and the Billy. Scout can live out of this one. Oh, be nice. Bakuchis snipes him from range. Gets that counter kill, so it's going to be a 2-for-2 on the side lane. Nice find to shut down some of these players getting active for the melee creeps. And as you said, that the soul lead, it's there, but it's pretty marginal right now. And it feels like it's more about the ultimate tempo, more about finding those numbers advantages and seeing if you can get some cheeky jungle camp steals as Saya getting on the opponent's side of the map and just getting what he can from those opponent jungles.
Well, there's decay coming in as well. That's always annoying, but yeah, interesting scenario so far. One thing that I'm being worried by at the moment, Jake, I'm curious on your thoughts, is Tanner is a bit behind.
Yeah, Tanner struggling right now in Yam, and Yam is one of the most farm-dependent characters in the sense that if you're far behind the game, you really just don't feel effective. It feels like all you are is a vehicle for souls to like run down the enemy team, and if you don't have that kind of advantage and you can't be aggressive, you don't have any stuns, you don't have any control. I don't even think you have any slows on the kit, right? It's just all in damage and aggression and tankiness, and if you don't have the souls to back that up, it doesn't end up feeling effective. There's a lot of damage to the rest of the team. Maybe they can make some space. Matt gets a big hit and goes down. I mean, that's one of your soul leaders, Matt, dying again on this Mina. This game not going as smoothly as the last. And Tanner even dove that aggressively under the enemy walker. Gucci's trying to get some counter trades, though. Is going to be able to find that one onto Ido, who does drop an 800 bag, so that's actually a pretty nice find. Coolchi's trying to get out with that very bag. See if he can get back to base, or if this shift can get the execute on him.
And he's out. Maybe there's some assistance, though, to catch the Shiv. Your Fish Cake, who is trying to evacuate the area. Massive take down Sire in the meantime, which is a nice find. But as we say this, the urn is being run across the map by your slithery friends. Scout on Viper is about to go for the deposit. Here he is. Any challenge? Okay, you've got Aiden straight in your face there with that ultimate. He's going to get bursted down. Can he do anything to survive here? He's trying to get out of there. But Aiden is a machine, and he's going to take down Scout. But he didn't deny Scout, I don't believe, from getting the urn. So still a win.
It is, but you can't be feeding those kills away, and I think probably a lot of those souls got denied by Aiden, so that's a really nice find from Aiden. His standard bearer easily for running the clock right now. Super important to their status in the game right now. Melee Creep's low on a number of players, and Bunny the Clock are going to pounce on that advantage, cleaning up that long-standing mid-Guardian. DMB is going to find a trade, dropping down almost all the Guardians, and I expect even this last Guardian is not long for this world, as Arctic stepping up to the plate with a full gun build. This tower is not going to live long in the face of this Viscous.
Really interesting situation right now, Jake, because John has 15k souls. He literally has more than two times what Hannah has.
He's enormous.
But
this is a deep dive.
Go ahead.
Billy, I don't know about this one, man. They're diving super hard on a 3-chance Warden. Got stomped once by the Walker. Is there going to be assistance here? I guess he's all alone. Maybe the dive is going to be good. It's enough for the kill, but this is a really expensive one. Test costs you a lot of HP. Maybe Ido can stick around and continue to put that pressure in, but here comes John, putting all that farm to use. And while Aiden's getting dove and killed on the other side of the map, the assistance does come in to both defend the Walker and clear out some of these pesky kills, but I guess the fact that John gets kills in the meantime, it's pretty much an even trade, but the advantage that did develop for Melee Creeps, was it 3 or 4k souls, is all but gone now. So the game's still incredibly even, and Gibbs has that dome online on Kelvin, so trying to take a frontline fight could be pretty challenging even for John.
And something else worth mentioning is also the distribution of the souls, because John has 17k, looks really scary, but the rest of his team is it's pretty poor in comparison to that. And for Bunny Clock, it's much more of an even spread, making them probably more effective overall in these big team fights. With that said, you got some caution now from BWC. They're in trouble. They're going to be chasing down a kill hit. But they're low, and there are players in mid here that might try to deal with this. Tanner having to pop Shadow Form there to try to stay alive. Viper coming into the fray as well. Could be a problem, but just not enough here to fight for Melee Crew, so have to back away. Kick is isolated, though. He's actually very isolated. Or Lash, I should say. That's Ido.
Billy does find the Walker, but it's going to cost him his life. Arctic coming in for the cleanup here. Does get a parry. He's going for that greedy heavy melee ball. But wait, surely? Hold on. He's getting the extra heal from the creeps. Okay, slowing X is here, and that's going to be enough. Cool Cheese had to come in and assist that cleanup. It's good that he did. I mean, honestly, that could have gone wrong for Arctic if he was trying to do that in a pure 1v1. But hey, opening a Walker this early is definitely a win for the melee creeps, even if it costs DMB's life. I mean, that's a very valuable slot to find at this moment in the game, right around 15 minutes. That's where some of these players are going to start to run up against the slot restriction. So great find from DMB, capitalizing on his earlier play to already get that Walker nice and low.
And it seems like the team is catching up overall, like, fairly well. Looking at Tanner now, it doesn't look quite as bad because, you know, Fishcake, Saya, Scout and Ido, they're all around 11 to 12k, so that puts Tanner not super far behind most of the other team.
Very nice ultimate there. Catches. Cube is good enough to block the big slam, and that's actually going to maybe keep Matt alive. Nice footwork as well from Matt to get out of this play. So Arctic, big impact save there, but across the map still the kills are raining in, and Saya sieging down a tower at the same moment. So as good as this game looked for a while for Bunny with Clock, I feel like maybe Creeps starting to find a bit of an edge, a few of those trades going their way at once, and it could be a second Walker going down. I think just barely, not quite, flying out now with John and Saya, but the damage is done. I mean, that Walker is going to be an easy cleanup later in the game, and a gun buff for John. I mean, Saya full support Ivy behind John is actually really scary right now, considering the soul lead that John has. Like, Ivy tethers up with you know, heroes like Billy and Geist here and keeps them healthy. Man, I do not want to be on the other side of that team fight.
I totally agree. It is really, really cool how, you know, I just was thinking to myself, like, there's going to be so many ways that you can play this game. Like, once the game's opened up globally, I feel like so much more is possible in this game than we've really explored.
Yeah.
And just like the use that we see from John and the way that he plays a lot of heroes and how Saya can support him, it gives them a lot of unique gameplay. But with that said, do you have the urn drop off coming on through, or the attempt at least, but the puddle punch comes in, and that's going to make things very tricky.
Scouts down. There could be a big team fight to be had right now. Aiden's not going to be coming to this fight. Gibbs trying to stand tall, but just can't even attempt it. John, the Terminator here, just walking him down. Cool Trees tries to step up to the plate, denies that urn drop for the moment, but Shiv drops the urn and just starts throwing up the dukes. You're taking this fight. Kelvin trying to assist in that, delaying the engage. Can they get the urn close enough where there's a free turn in to be had? Saya is just like standing in the way, putting his body on the line. Big double dash connection is enough to burst down Cool G's. The healing from the Kelvin is just not enough. And Shiv overwhelms inside of the dome. Here comes Aiden. He's got that ultimate on the Warden, but they're kiting him out. He's not able to find that early connection. And Aiden just has to get out of that fight, recognizes he has no chance to get it. Melee Creeps get the urn turn in, and a massive team fight, and the first major advantage in the game opens up. Aiden in real trouble, trying to fight DMB, who's just stalling for time as the assistance comes in, and Melee Creeps wipe the floor with Bunny with Clock.
And that could be the moment that the tension sort of has broken on this game, as you say, like a big soul advantage starting to creep on through. 15k ahead for Melee Creeps. Looking to try to convert this into more, but we'll see what they try to do. Right now, the left and middle lane is really pushed for Melee Creeps, but they got to even up this right side lane. You've got an Arctic who's harassing this Walker on the right side. Is Arctic going to be able to get away? He surely has the Google available. No, he doesn't. He's going to get actually probably wrecked here. He is all in.
Just going all in, trying to find what trades he can. No parry attempted by Arctic. He does kill the Walker. It's a nice find. I mean, arguably that's worth it. Space of the game. You pull two players' attention to yourselves, and Saya trying to fly somebody out, but yeah, he's just going to drop him right back in. Fishcake doesn't want to get out of this fight. He wants to continue this engagement, continue diving forward. Finishing surely Aiden right now, who's dealing what damage he can before he falls, but death is just inevitable now. And I mean, the game was so close for so long, and now it just feels like Melee Creeps have opened up a massive gap. They might even think about going for a mid-boss here.
They ain't thinking about it. They are doing it straight in there. And I don't know, is there going to be any alarm for this? Obviously, the mid-boss is going to scream, but is there a response here now that the alarm has been sounded? Do you ever expect that they would just be going for this like so fast? You can't be prepared.
I don't know if you can stop it. Like, Yamato's the only one who could, and she's not coming to this. I don't think they're even going to attempt it. Kelvin, oh, that's a little bit ambitious from Kelvin. Just the full naked solo attempt from Gibbs. I mean, I guess if he gets one, it would be worth it, but just dying. I mean, I guess he doesn't have his ulti on Kelvin, so he's not really any use in the fight, to be honest, anyway. I don't think there's any intention to fight until he has that online. Arctic has earned a pretty massive soul amount, and he's going to grab another Walker, and actually, I think he'll get out with his life here. He has ulti. It's going to be hard, maybe with the Lash ult. Okay, the Viper ult plus Lash ult, surely it's going to be enough to lock him down, but he's taking on this Viscous.
There we go, he's rolling.
It's one of the sickest escape tools in the entire game. It's kind of like one of the things that makes this gun build work. And oh, a slam. That's a great connection from Saya onto Matt. Finds Mina, and despite the 3 rejues, Melee Creeps are still split around the map and just hunting down Bunny with Clock players as they're trying to be tricky and like make a lot of space in the map, deny some kind of a push coming in. But if you just feed kill after kill, this is not worth it.
Yeah, this is looking really bad. Right now, the mid walker is going to go down as well. It's just getting focused fired by Melee Creeps. Now it's gone.
32k. I mean, this is like disgusting. He's pretty much doubling up on most of the players on Bunny with Clock. I mean, that is a ridiculous lead to have at this point in the game. And I guess with this next 6k buy, things are going to be really problematic for Melee Creeps, or rather for Bunny with Clock. Not that they aren't already really problematic, as this game may just be out of control. Triple rejuve and the lead only expanding.
Yeah, they have so much in the way of neutrals to fall back onto. They started their neutral killing journey in their enemy at the enemy side of the map, and now they are working their way all the way back into the depths of theirs. And once they emerge, they will be pretty damn strong. And the plated armor coming on through as well. That's going to be really annoying because, I mean, Aiden is a big damage dealer, and a lot of it's the gun damage.
Could be a nice start to the fight. All right, 2 crystals down instantly. Aiden still healthy, wants to fight off, maybe wants to try to catch some of these players who have already lost their rejuves, but John who fought Colossus in the side chop, he's about to get active into this fight. They still have 1 crystal left, and Melee Creeps trying to get real value, punishing 2 crystals down, but the rest of the players still healthy now. Letting the clock expend all their resources for those kills, and they end up paying 3 lives to boot. Continued chase down from Ido as well. Might find something more in the mid lane. Cool Cheese. I think he's probably running very low on the stamina, and yeah, DMB and Ido just beam him down from range. And it's a nice look, I mean, to take out some of the crystals, to mitigate some of the tempo, but honestly, with these players dead, the base siege is going to come with or without the rejuves.
Yeah, easy does it. Getting all those shrines, getting the objectives. So
Billy's
painful.
taking big hits from this. It doesn't feel that safe for Billy to go for this one. I think Billy is going to die here. I mean, he has a crystal, so not the end of the world to just use the rejuve for value, and I guess you'd rather it be on Billy than most others. I don't think in the end the shrines are going to drop, and actually you could end up being a bit overextended now as the chase comes in. Finding Shiv would be a nice catch, but he's very mobile, very hard to hunt down. Damage is good, and he ends up just trying to turn and deal what damage he can. Dome also used, looks like, onto Ido, and the silence from Mina over the top. The Nox Nostra putting a ton of damage into Scout, so 3 players on melee creeps dropping. Getting a little bit too big for their britches here on melee creeps. Thought they could open the shrines with just a 10-second spawn timer. They get 1, but if the second shrine is held, that will be really not worth it. Melee creeps, they're kind of desperate now. I think maybe they just sack in and try and get these shrines down, but no, they're not even going to go for that. This could end up being a full rout.
This is really interesting. Obviously, still a very big lead, but it does give a lot of breathing room. It gives a chance for Bunny with Clock. I really don't feel like they didn't have a chance. Like Billy kind of walked in, kind of just donated his rejuve, and then they just put more like bad after good. You know, it was definitely not an ideal scenario. Now the iron gets turned in as well, and suddenly the lead is really starting to become somewhat negligible. So they shrunk to a 12k lead. It was like 30k plus just a moment ago.
Yeah, that's a huge fight from Bunny with Clock. It's a new lease on life. It's another chance in this game. I think melee creeps, they still have the lead, and you know, the base from Bunny with Clock is on its last legs. But that big fight, look at these big buys coming out. Aiden grabs Glass Cannon, Vamp Burst onto Arctic, and Cool Cheese with a crippling headshot. So pretty threatening big buys of damage here. Gonna be not so easy, especially for Shiv and Billy to just frontline with impunity now in this game.
Got them Gamba gloves on, slapping the machine. When I do that, they tell me, they kick me out.
You're saying the casino frowns upon punching the machines.
Yeah.
There should be like a neutral in the Sinner's Sacrifice who like comes and kicks you out of the casino for counting cards.
Yeah, get bans. It's yeah. We don't advise doing that.
Death is inevitable.
We don't advise doing that. Do not get yourself in any legal trouble. Make good decisions. Go to school and stuff. That's what we're all about.
I see Kelvin.
I think I saved us, Jake.
I think so too. Let's see if John now he's coming into this fight, looking to get active, looking to make those mistakes go away with a big team fight. Already to catch on to Arctic is one of your best damage dealers, and you're already dropped in the fight. John's still healthy, still fighting this one out. Big slam over the top, forces the bats down from the Mina. Nox Nostra over the top, but many players inside the dome trying to just stay alive through this. Melee creep still strong at 6 players. Bunny with Fox starting to run out of gas. Aiden does find Scout. HP bars, though, aren't looking the best for Bunny with Clock, and with Aiden dropping, that's one of your key damage threats. Cool, she's not far behind him, straight into the grave. Mina trying to get what trade she can, would love to be able to shut down Billy, but now without the single retreat, the execute comes in, Fishcake cleans up, and that could be game over. Bunny with Clock, desperate, had to force some kind of a fight here.
Thank you for your
Could be a catch to be had onto this Kelvin. It's not a free retreat from him. Shiv looking to cut him off. Fancy footwork now from Fishcake, a movement duel. But I think that zip on the side lane is going to be enough to be able to get Kelvin out of trouble, and the base is the real target. Melee creeps, maybe a bit over-eager to seize the base last time, but now the Shrine's surely dead to runs.
Still not a massive soul differential here. It might be a chance to hold on after the patron drops, but still like a big advantage for melee creeps. And they've got a fair amount to fall back onto in terms of neutrals and
Kelvin?
what value's left on the rest of the map.
Kelvin's
And
in
the
enemy
mid-boss
territory. Little bro, somebody help Gibbs. Get over here, man. You had a zip in your lane. You just didn't take it. And now with Kelvin down, that actually could precipitate the end of the game here. I don't think Melee Creeps anticipated that. But buffs up, mid-boss as well. I think you're just going to go for this, man. No Warden ulti, Kelvin down. I feel like this is, you got to try this. Bunny the Clock are going to get active on the map, though. They maybe try to punish melee creeps for some anticipated greed. But it seems like they do see it coming. Melee creeps, good read. Scouting out this desperation push and not being caught by it. Opportunity to go back and get your buys off. But Ido, not so lucky. He actually is going to get punished. Maybe just any kind of a connection will be good enough to take him out, and he can't quite get it done. That's huge that Ido lives. Big heal from the Ivy now. And Melee creeps are all in. Bunny the Clock, there's no backing out of this one. They bring everyone to the fight, and they end up getting cut down, not able to kill Ido, and he's going to be back into this fight with a vengeance here on the Lash. Scout does drop, but I think that's all they're going to find here.
John is a juggernaut. They're just cutting through absolutely everybody, and the Wipers is insane. There's nothing left here. They can just go straight for the base at this point. Finish off the game. That's it. Get into the pit, lads. It's time to end map number 1 here for Melee Creeps. And it was a scary moment when it felt like they may be throwing.
Kelvin sell everything and buy refresher right now. He needs a dome, and he needs to sell everything and buy refresher. This is like I still don't think it's enough. I still don't think it's enough. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sold.
You gotta really believe on that one. It's not gonna be enough. I like Bunny the Clock, playing fearless throughout this game. Like even as the game looked really dire against them, willing to take big risks. And Melee Creeps, frankly, some of their characteristic, maybe doing a little bit of trolling with their big advantage. That base siege was maybe a little bit over-eager the first time it happened. But hey, it all doesn't matter if you get the win in the end. You can put all those mistakes behind you. And as a series now, 1-0 advantage for the Melee Creeps. A lot of questions being put to Bunny with Clock about, can they bring this one back? Do they have what it takes to force this one to a Game 3 down?
Do they have what it takes? I mean, I definitely do think they have what it takes. I think they showed a great game of Deadlock here. I think the Kelvin pick felt weird, obviously. They felt like they had to move things around for it.
In the early game, like I don't remember him using a dome in the early game, truly, which is a little bit strange. I mean, that's really feels like in the past was the reason you picked this hero, is for the early game tempo domes.
Yeah, like the dives, getting him under the towers, and that kind of stuff. I absolutely agree.
This fight from Cyan DMB, this was so painful. I was like, oh my god, I feel for Tanner. Because honestly, Tanner's game really fell off a cliff, and this was kind of a big precipitating moment where you thought for sure you were going to get that kill. And, great moves from DMB, dodging away from the damage, the assist coming in from Saya to save him, and making it competitive at all stages of the game. But this the execution a little bit better from the Melee Creeps, and it ends up being a huge difference here as we get towards the late game.
It does feel for me that the core of having Mina and Warden especially is really nice and is working for them. And also as well as Viscous. These picks do feel like they really work. And we saw Arctic do some crazy heroics, taking down 2 walkers by himself, like when they were behind. So like there's a lot here that works. It's just really the Kelvin that has me unsure.
John just hitting the full rainbow on him. That's nasty. I mean, didn't get the most assists in the game. I think he's got too many kills. I mean, Saya is so active, participating in so many fights. I love that the Vortex Web, and I mean, this is a pretty sick Ivy build, right? He goes a little bit of damage in the early game to make sure the gun is relevant pressure. And then from there on out, it's just like annoying stuff to deal with. The Alk Fire to help you push, the Vortex Web to disrupt people and lock them down in the middle of the fight. Mystic Slow and the Bullet Resist Shredder to apply more effects when you are able to land that damage, whether it's from the ult or your first skill. So I really like Saya on the support Ivy this game. I think super high impact. DMB super active in the early game, but you got to give this game to John, man. Early game dominates the lane, and it's just out of control in the farm. 1 death. 13, 1 and 13, top in every stat. It just doesn't get better than this on a Geist game.
I totally agree. And with that said, maybe it's a good time to throw it to a break, Jake, because we got to set ourselves up for the next one. And I'm super curious what the draft's going to be. And I don't want to yap anymore. I want to find out. Is it going to be a Kelvin repeat? We'll have to find out after the break.
Welcome back, everybody, to Deadlock Night Shift. It's 2026. We're getting into a new year and about to crown our new champion here for North America. Or maybe it'll be the same one who's been crowned time and time again here. Melee Creeps going for 9 straight. And if they're able to close out this series, they're already up 1-0. They'll be doing just that, setting a pretty massive record here in 2026.
It's really interesting, Jake, the way that Melee Creeps do it, because they can do it in a lot of different ways, but it feels like everyone's like everyone's in the orbit of John as a star player because and the way that John's a star player, it's like different than like Poshy Pop, how we saw how the way that Posh is playing a Wraith, for example. Because with John, he's playing like the Geist, but the Geist is a lot more involved, and like Sai is like directly supporting it in a way that we don't see, like Poshy Pop in his version of playing the carry is playing. And when I'm thinking to like European teams, like where we see OCs playing, the way that OCs gets to carry and gets to farm is more maybe towards like the Poshy Pop style, but the whole team, I think, makes greater concessions for how they actually allow him the dominance of so much of the map to farm efficiently. So like there's all these different takes, right, on how you actually do this. And I got to say, Melee Creeps is unique, I feel like, with John and what he can do.
I mean, the level of soul advantage he's getting in these games is absolutely unique, but I don't think we've seen any other player in the world right now get to that kind of an advantage. Being able to like nearly double the soul tally of the opposition, I mean, that is like, I don't think we ever see that really at high level Deadlock. And it's not like the game is overall a blowout. It's that they're really pumping a ton of souls. And I also think the picks that John gets, like something like the Geist, is a great user of that like super high emphasis net worth, where you can truly be the solo carry because you're not just high damage, you're also very hard to kill. You're very tanky. And you put all your eggs in that basket, you really don't want him to just get caught and bursted down. And John also has just been immaculate in the positioning, pretty much never caught out in that game. One death, I'm not even sure when that was, maybe from the laning phase, but overall just so much impact across the game and no cracks that Melee Creeps are showing here. I mean, early game was, there were a couple moments that Bunny the Clock were able to battle back, but we got towards the late game and it took kind of Melee Creeps going for a pretty big overextension into the base to give Bunny with Clock a strong team fight.
Yeah, and we talked about the compositions previously too, how the impacts may from just those picks may determine the fate of these teams. And we talked about how there's not really too much of a conflict in some of the key pickups for both teams, which is always interesting. But we did see one key issue, which is when Matt gets banned off of a pocket, what happens? Last map, we got a Kelvin. What do they do next time? Because like you said, Jake, I don't think anyone's convinced by that pickup.
Yeah, it felt like quite a bit of role swaps last game, despite the fact that 5 out of 6 of the heroes were the same as the challenger match. They ended up with a very different lineup in terms of who was on what. While Arctic had some nice macro plays in the Viscus, right, cleaning I think 2 walkers on the sides of the map and making a lot of space with those plays in the macro game. It didn't feel that the carry potential came in when it came to like the really big team fights that ended up counting. I think that's kind of my worry about Gun Viscus right now. As good as it is, you get to the ultra late game and you're just getting locked out in the team fights, and there's too much you have to do on Viscus just to stay alive, where you're not able to be as players like heroes like Geist and Billy are, where they're surviving and they're also doing massive damage and carrying at the same time. And that's what we saw from DMB and John last game.
Yeah, there's a lot to answer for that. And I'm curious too if Melee Creeps have a bit of fun with this second map, they could decide to ban a Warden. They could do that. Aiden's obviously the next target. I feel like, if you get rid of the pocket, which is really helpful for just the comps that Melee Creeps want to run, you could just for fun, ban the Warden and see what they do. And I'd be curious because we haven't seen what this roster looks like when Warden is no longer available. So that could be kind of fun.
I think the onus, though, is on Bunny with Clock to change something from last game. Melee Creeps, you just run it back. Do the same thing again. The early game was, I wouldn't say rocky. It was at least competitive in the early game. But even Melee Creeps had a few thousand soul advantage in the very early game that they ended up kind of losing due to some nice skirmishing from Bunny with Clock. So we'll have to see if that's, sort of repeated history. We've seen a lot of times in DLNS where a team that takes a tough loss in game 1 ends up struggling to just like have even a competitive game 2 with like the mental advantage slips away from you at all. Like if you stop being really with it in terms of the communication and those early game skirmishes, the verticality, like there's so much to communicate about. If you lose any of that momentum, I think you can kind of fall flat. So what I want to see most out of Bunny with Clock is just that the tempo in the early game, those fights, those skirmishes are solid and show that they really have like the confidence in themselves to force a game 3.
Okay, well,
When you need me, I'll be
Doorman gets
ready.
banned again, which makes sense. Avoid the gun Doorman that John
the
will
Doorman is
inevitably
such
play.
it's like you could be John's gun doorman or one of the many like versatile players. Like imagine like Scout on the Viper. I don't think it was the highest impact Viper game last game, it's fair to say, but like give that guy a doorman and now you're looking at maybe a much scarier lineup with some really powerful tools with regarding objectives and things of the nature. And interesting, the Shiv ban comes in from Melee Creeps, so they are going to force something different, banning effectively the ship away from themselves. I wonder if Bunny the Clock don't just grab a Billy here. I feel like that seems obvious to me, but maybe I'm missing something.
Yeah, this is super interesting because obviously the difference here is
What are
this
we
first pick
standing
for
around
BWC.
for?
So
Let's start
melee
breaking
creeps.
shit.
I'm curious, do they pick up a pocket? Because pocket's got to be pretty high priority right now for Bunny with Clock, and that was what was denied previously for Matt. Do they pick up Pocket? Do they pick up Mina? These are two pretty important core heroes for Bunny with Clock. Warden as well. They could deny one of those three if they wanted to.
I like the idea of a pocket.
Abrams
Like,
keeps
give
coming.
Ido the pocket could be a good look. They're gonna go with the Abrams instead, so having something that can actually stand toe to toe with a Billy, and take some of those melee battles is definitely a nice find. I think Abrams is a really nice hero to build that rebuttal, even to like play close range with Billy and give him a lot of chances to make mistakes, meleeing into a parry. Melee creeps. Wonder what the second's gonna be. I wouldn't mind the pocket, but it's gonna be the Warden. So bit of a role reversal for now.
Yeah, I feel like you gotta have a pocket in one of these two pickups. I just feel like that's gonna happen.
I want to see Bunny with Clock go pocket Geist right now. That's the pickup I really
Ooh.
want to see from them here. I guess it is a John Warden most likely, but Geist historically is a very strong matchup into the Warden. They go with the Mina though, which has also been very impactful for them throughout the day.
Okay, so pocket. Is it here? What else is it in competition with? If I can say the word.
I mean, now Pocket feels a little more awkward. Maybe you just pick it anyway. Bunny with Clock played both in the Challenger match. Why not have it here?
Oh,
They go with the Lash though, which I actually do quite like. Warden and Abrams are
Interesting.
two heroes that don't engage so much with the verticality of the game and could end up getting Lash ulted, pulled into overextension situations, especially with somebody like Billy setting that up with a big chain gang, pulling people together for Lash to follow up. Mina has great follow-up damage as well. But
Okay.
Mina keeps grab the Kelvin. So that's a very comfortable pick for Saya and one that gives great team fight options to deal with things like Lash and Mina. You can lock the Mina down inside of the dome, and her Sanguine isn't going to make that much of a difference. And for Billy, I mean, just can he really stand toe to toe with a heavy front line inside the dome? This game, there's no Shiv standing alongside him to help with that.
Oh.
They banned the Geist. Okay, so they deny it coming out there. I think Melee Creeps also thought, hey, that could be an effective pick here.
Yeah, and it's interesting too because Pocket is going to be available for melee crews to pick for Ido potentially because Warden, as you say, John Abrams, maybe Fishcake potentially, and there's a fit here still for a pocket that goes either way. So I feel like that might be one of the next pickups we'll see here.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Ido on the pocket, right? Lash and Mina both taken away. These are the heroes I think that we've seen a lot of Ido on. Ido has also played a bit of Abrams though, so I wouldn't be crazy to see him just go with that what we've already seen. So I think if they don't go pocket, that it would be that. But it is going to be the Ido pocket, which for me is it's so hard to bet against the Ido pocket. Like this guy, he's so solid on it. It's like the OG Ido one trick, which I mean he's so far beyond that as a player now. But I feel like it always comes back, and it's just this hero. I feel like Pocket's one of those heroes that's probably always going to be relevant in competitive Deadlock. It's just so much skill potential. The ability to get in and out of a lot of these fights. It's just pretty much unique in the whole Deadlock cast. No one can cross the map quite like Pocket can and deliver the amount of spirit damage that Pocket brings.
I do love Mirage though, especially against Pocket because the burst damage on Spirit's really nice, and
Yeah,
if he
it's hard.
TP's away, the Jin's mark can still pop. When he's left. So like Mirage is a really nice threat, I think, against Pocket. So I love that. And also shocked that it's taken this many games today to see Mirage. Mirage is still really in a great spot. And the Paradox comes in too.
I think Arctic has been amazing on Mirage too. It's like been a particular comfort hero. So while maybe other teams aren't using the Mirage as much, it doesn't surprise me that Bunny with Clock are the team to kind of go back for it here. Melee Creeps doubling down with the Viper, feeling like this must have been really successful for them in the past in scrims. And I do think the impact that Scout has on this Viper isn't even fully shown by like the eye test of, okay, Viper doesn't have like the most amazing individual game, but by virtue of sacrificing her game and showing up around the map and like the lane that John gets, laning with Viper and ending up in the solo lane a ton. So Viper's taking the short end of that stick on purpose, giving all the farm over to John, and then the roams to get active and assist other players' games. It's really more of a supporting style, and I think it ends up kind of boosting up the allies for Melee Creeps. I believe this is going to be a DMB Wraith, so there's going to be a real double core threat for Melee Creeps with the Warden and the Wraith. And Bunny with Clock closed with the Vindicta. I believe this is the first Vindicta we've seen all day, and just thinking though, it's kind of a nice Vin game. I mean, there's not much to pull her out of the sky, right? No Paradox, no Holiday, none of these conventional catch heroes, no Bebop to be able to pull Vin down. Not even a Great Talon, right? Who's been able to sometimes shoot back at Vin. So this, I wonder if it'll be an Aiden Vindicta here, and we won't get to see like how good this guy is on an extremely comfortable pick for him.
And especially given that, again, you got some good targets here. Pocket Viper Wraith, pretty squishy and susceptible to the burst spirit damage, and the lockdown too. Viper, one of the counters for Viper is any kind of lockdown you can find. That if you just get some lockdown to focus Viper, she'll just die. So
Tether is a problem.
It's a good. I like this. I like this draft. It's like very different than what I expected. I expected minimal changes from both sides, but we got pretty big changes from both sides. So this is fun.
I do think May of the Creeps have a much scarier late game in this game. Not scarier than Bunny with Clock, but scarier than the last game, where I think they're under a little bit less pressure to tempo out and kind of like snowball the game, as it were. I think with DMB probably going to be on the Wraith, going to be able to put a lot of side lane pressure on, threaten the macro game, and then John on the Warden, able to get most likely into that like heavy gun damage in the late game. That's super scary. Pocket initiates and the follow-up is there from the cores. It could be a real challenge. But Bunny with Clock, I think they bought themselves a very good chance in this match. Very comfortable picks for them. They get the Billy this time in their hands. They get the Lash this time for some of that team fight effect. We'll just have to see how do Melee Creeps deal with some of those scary picks that Bunny with Clock were able to grab in this draft.
Yeah, so what do you think about the how the lanes are looking? I always like to get your take on that at the start.
Let's see. So I do like Billy Geist. It strikes me as a pretty strong lane, and I sort of see Abrams Pocket as actually a pretty bad lane. Like there's no setup control for the Abrams. I think you kind of just threw these players here with a lack of another place to put them. So I think I would kind of have the highest expectations for this Vindicta Billy lane for Bunny with Clock. Mid lane with Mirage Paradox, that also seems pretty strong. For Bunny with Clock, Melee Creeps are going to be putting, I believe, it's a Kelvin and a Warden. Decent lane, but strikes me as maybe a little bit less dominant, a little bit more on the defensive side, if Arctic can get that prio. And then, of course, in the far left lane, it's going to be Viper and Wraith. Honestly, these lanes seem terrible for Melee Creeps. I'm looking at all three lanes, I'm like, wait, are any of these lanes good? I kind of don't see it. I feel like Bunny with Clock have given themselves generally much stronger laners. So let's see if they're able to get an advantage out of that in the early game and maybe make something here of this game too.
All right. Let's see exactly how this pans out then in the early game. I do look forward to seeing how this looks now, because we've seen everybody. I feel like so many players on BWC have like just completely changed what they're doing. Now Arctic is on. How many? He's played like three different. He's played two different heroes now on this. Three different, if you can include the challenger matchup, right?
Yeah, I think
Tanner is the same. Aiden, he's played 2. Gibbs has played 3.
Oh, hold on, some big pressure in the mid lane now. Kelvin gets in the mix, but takes a ton of counter pressure, and both players now just ignoring each other in the mid lane, going for some just broad pressure on the creep. So definitely mid lane maybe is going to be the one to get active in. Viper's here as well. It's a party lane here in the mid. And these early active trades put a little bit of pressure onto Cool Cheese and Arctic. But here comes the follow-up gank. Gibbs chases Scout down, says, hey, you'll be homeless, I'll be homeless too. There's a Billy here too, and the whole team is here in the mid lane. Absolute activity from Bunny with Clock, but they end up finding a couple of those opening kills. Aiden left alone in the side lane is being chased down by Abrams. Could be in real trouble just to take that bounce pad out. And I mean, damn, this game has gotten off to a very, very hot start.
Yeah, it has, and I'm still really excited for the potential for Aiden to have a big game on the Vindicta. We'll see what kind of build he ends up going for, but Aiden is just so known to be a carry threat on Vindicta. Ooh, looking to try to get some damage there is Billy, but yeah, the Vindicta thing is interesting because we don't have too many. We don't have anything else other than the Vindicta that can snowball souls in that way. And I just love the carry potential from that.
You know what? We need the snowball right now, Dan. We need to snowball the prize pool. Right now, we've just had $15 in donations for the prize pool, but you personally at home have the power to add to the prize pool. !donate gives you all the info, and that will go directly to our winning teams here today. Also, this is great fill as, you know, finding a little bit of time on the broadcast. There you go.
As
right,
coming in like
Kelvin.
the voice of God.
Sorry about that, gents. Had to feed my bunny.
ZP's got a good radio voice, don't you think?
I think so.
The resonant
It'd be like
tone,
a smooth
dulcet
jazz station. Speaking of smooth jazz, DMB cut up easily there. Arguably the jazziest character in Deadlock is Wraith. I think that's fair to say.
I'm trying to think if I.
She's
have any
giving me like
context
the
to that.
most jazz vibes, you know, like
Yeah. I
over
feel
a
that.
saxophone in a dimly lit club. She'd fit right in.
I feel like Infernus is a good shout
Oh,
to that as well.
Actually, that's true. That's very true. Furnace, very honorable mention here. John from Beyond the Grave, a trap on a TMB with the continued 3 players in the lane. And I mean, talked about this in the pregame, right? Of what Bunny the Clock need to do in this game. I think the early activity going their way is actually a great sign. Like, they're still playing aggressive. They're still looking for their opportunities, finding their plays. And that's what they need to continue deep into this game. I mean, it's going to take a lot more than that to shut down melee creeps as good as they've been. But this game overall is not really going, I think, the way melee creeps would have preferred. Maybe Scout finding this ultimate could start to turn that tide.
Yeah, so 5 minutes now, and just looking across at the souls, nothing stands out too much. John's going to be fun on the Warden, but I don't know, man. Aiden's had some really great performances there. He's going to top that. I'm sure John's good for it, though, of course.
If you need me,
Sight on the Kelvin.
this thing.
The chase down here from Mina. Matt's back on the Mina again. Matt did, I think, a great job on the Mina so far that we've seen today.
Nox Nostra over the top, silencing this Wraith, but not able to stay there and stand and deliver. Additional rotations coming in from melee grips in this lane. Saya just barely living on that Kelvin. Should be able to get a quick reset and come back into the engagement. Actually sticking around, just keep pumping heals into DMB, keep this Wraith alive. And as good as John has been in the farm game, I feel like DMB, you got to give this guy a very honorable mention, has also played that role many times in the past. Lash ult on one lane, snipes in the other. And it's a dominance across the map. 2 lanes, 2 kills for Bunny with Clock. Melee creeps find one back though, Matt. Maybe going a little bit too deep to have to secure that.
And a quick shout out to Stroklahoma with the $35. Thank you, sir.
It's a quality name, honestly. I love to see like the gamer tags people come up with over the years. There's always more. It's like an area for continued innovation in the esports space. Matt takes some deaths in this lane, but is not scared, not giving any respect to Saya, and Gibbs just comes in out of nowhere. Entering Lash's world indeed. Scout try to get active, gonna trade lethal venom. It's enough to pop Matt. Yeah, you can't pop your bats when you've been turned to stone, but Gibbs got absolutely full value out of this life buff, man. That's the dream. You get the full like regen through the entire duration of the life buff. That is a little bit broken.
So far, it feels like Bunny McClock really doing a pretty good job in this game. It just feels like already there's more cohesion. I don't know about you, Jake, but I'm getting a good positive feeling from this new comp that they are bringing to bear.
We'll see if it's enough to continue. So far, so good, though. The fights continue rolling in solidly for Bunny with Clock. Tower is going to go down, which is actually a pretty impactful find now, freeing up John to potentially play this side lane and just really pump up those farm numbers. Full spirit investment here out of Saya, so you got to be pretty respectful of this Kelvin. I mean, he can bring a lot of impact with the full kit in a team fight. John hitting a Sinner's steal. It's just past the 8-minute mark now. Sinner's online. Arctic also pretty potent in terms of the build, like heavy damage commitment from Bunny with Clock, especially considering Aiden is on the Vindicta this game and they're not going to be hurting for that follow-up damage. Nice moves from John to delay the inevitable, but that's all he's going to get done. Calvin comes in, but just wasn't there in time to be able to dome him off, keep that Warden healthy into the fight.
I gotta say, Scout has been getting hunted down a lot this game so far.
Your loyalty will be rewarded.
Oh, another Skype.
Oh,
Little poaching on an endangered snake here.
so close.
Oh,
my God,
he's
Scout,
crazy
why are
for
you
going
doing
across
it?
that lane. Don't disrespect Aiden like that, bro.
Why is he there?
Receive the blessing of the Amber Hand.
Maybe he calculated that.
Yeah, he knew he had enough. Obviously, he calculated that Vindicta could only charge 63% of the snipe and didn't have the damage to follow up. Obviously, a professional player like Scout would never leave something like that to chance.
Human calculator, Lizard.
It is a max snipe build from Aiden. So when Aiden gets this full snipe online, there could be a bit of a net worth explosion if Underneath the Clock are able to continue this kind of pace of strong early game fights that they've been pulling off so far. And just absolutely gank squad here on the Warden. A nice 750 bag, John. Thanks for your farming skill. We will take that. Nox Nostra as well to ensure nothing can be deployed to delay this fight. Full charge snipe.
It's over.
Now the max is online. Things are about to get scary in the net worth department. Aiden needs to find a couple more of those fights. Needs to continue growing that lead, but could very easily see it happen. We've seen this guy have some insane games in the past in the van.
Yeah, it's too good right now. The vibes are too high. Although with that said, you can never count out melee creeps. They're just too good. So we'll see what can be done about this. But in terms of like solo advantage, it's Arctic. That's super far ahead in terms of the carries. Ido trying to make an escape with the affliction. Is he going to be able to do so? He's going to get chased down. In fact, Tanner on the Billy is not going to allow him to leave. So with that said, you've got 51k to 48k, but that's very tight in the souls, but it still feels really good here for Bunny with Clock as they continue to fight.
Big lash on. The follow-up is so clean from Aiden, sniping in over the top here into the skybox. Fishcake up into the air, does slam down Vin, but Aiden, he's got those in the bag, no doubt. And the souls are going up. Aiden up to 9.6. One snipe behind most of the carries on this team, and I think Vindicta could be turning into a god this game. Ido, big stacks here. Amping that damage, but the slowing hex means he can't teleport out to that cape, and the follow-up isn't there. He's not able to get that kill chasing down Cool Cheese. Ido has struggled this game, man. Bunny with Clock have been dealing with this Ido pocket comfortably, confidently. And the soul lead has continued to grow. Almost 10k now. I mean, there's going to be an advantage earned for melee creep, so that'll help them in the comeback perspective. But, man, that's not what we would have thought this game would look like coming into this after game one.
No, it's really not. Definitely, we already did mention that there's some really big change-ups in both comps. And, Sai getting onto Kelvin. Kelvin has not seen the luster, the success that he has once seen, where he was the insta-ban every single game for months. We are far from those days now.
Yeah, not nearly. It feels like the domes have not had impact this game or the last, really. Typically, that ends up feeling like the biggest reason you pick the Kelvin. Mina gets the life buff online, up to 1700 in max HP. I mean, that's a relatively tanky Mina, and with the debuff remover, it's going to be a lot harder to find any more kills on Matt. It's going to free him up to be a lot more aggressive with the positions he's playing on the map, with the way he's farming. Scouts coming in for the rotate, though. Slowing Hex comes in, instant DBR, he's out of there.
He down. Drifting away like Mary Poppins with the umbrella. All right, well, into the basement we go. And Fishcake looking good to escape here, I think.
Ooh, the chase on Billy's coming. I don't. Oh, nice parry though. Tanner gets absolutely diffed here. Oh, the counter parry. Hold on. Billy still in this, but surely the dome. Okay, now it's just too much. Beautiful parry to set that one up from Fishcake. But the team's coming in. They don't really have any way out of this but the hard way. Trying to just slide down. Saya down. Aiden, he got that snipe kill. Abrams forced into a desperation fight here. Incredibly difficult in a 3-on-1. Snipes coming in. Aiden would love to get that last hit. He's getting a lot of assists, but here comes Mina over the top, silencing, ensuring no one can continue this engagement. Scout has done some damage, but trying to get out of this is pretty scary. And Aiden is so clean on this Vindicta, man. He wants these souls.
Yes, this is it's interesting. Aiden is definitely a threat, but he's not quite as far ahead as I thought that he would be. And I think it's because earlier there was maybe like 3 kills where he sniped, and they were, he didn't get the last hit with it. So I think he could be quite a lot further ahead at this point. So there's still a great chance, especially given that John John's keeping pace here with the farm against Arctic, for them to come back into this game. Even though it's felt like, you know, it's all bunny with clock in the last few minutes, a lot of potential for that to change around. We're still pretty early here in this game. Only into the 15th minute mark in about 50 seconds, where the next big objectives are going to be spawning. The urn in particular starts to get kind of valuable. So these big team fights might start to be the differentiator. And in terms of team fights, I mean, all Ido has to do is land a money affliction, and then the whole game can turn around.
That's true. We're at that stage of the game where affliction is pretty potent, but you know, no one's really going to have divine barrier. Especially given the lineup here, I don't know who would even build it this game. I feel like you almost have to grab that item against Pocket, which the ability to purge of Affliction is so valuable. But Arctic could be a real threat in the late game now. I mean, he's got the build online, right? All 3 of the investment bonuses up. Is a very efficient build. Scout does find Cool Cheese, and engagement on the other side of the map seems to be taking place now. Teams clashing over those buffs. Uncontested spirit buff for Arctic, but on the right side of the map, a lot of damage coming down.
Arctic trying to catch back up. John John's he's actually not just caught up, but he's ahead now. And as we get the urn pickup attempts coming on through, big team fight like we were talking about here, and it's BWC that are starting to hold ground. It's very hard to get Billy out of position, and right now Melee Creeps on the peripheral of this fight, trying to just balance things out nicely with these engagements, but they're going to get caught up as BWC go for this. But huge plays coming in. John into the fight, still full health, just pounding into these players. Nice pickup though from Aiden to try to equalize the numbers here. So 2 players down for BWC, 3 down for Melee Creeps, and that urn still to be collected.
John farming up a storm on the other side of the map, so mitigating some of the losses for Melee Creeps, but Aiden cleaning house. Aiden's up to 20k soul, so he is leapfrogged the game now. Up alongside John, who's pretty much been farming all game, so the max snipe Vindicta still has some potential, as is being shown here by this match. Urn control for Bunny with Clock. If they're able to get this urn dunk, that would be a massive one to continue to expand this lead, especially with mid-boss soon to be in contention. This is that point in the game, I think, where a big dominant team fight is very likely going to yield you a mid-boss.
One of the problems for John is he needs walkers to go down. He's run out of slots. So he might have to start selling stuff or like prioritize some upgrades for, you know, before other stuff in his build. But big team fight here. Jake on the turn-in.
Ido, is he in trouble here? Doesn't have anything left here. Lip comes in. Doesn't get the light. Yes, it prevents him from getting up to the high ground, so there could be a kill threat here, but no, the stamina is enough for Lash to play his way out of this one. Ooh, slowing Hex, just an absolute millisecond too late.
Smooth
The fight could be going down here. Perfect position now for Gibbs on the Lash, all the way over the top, trying to get a big connection, but they're under the bridge, and a beautiful ulti from the Viper. Cancels the Lash ult, denies it from the team bot, and Melee Creeps. The execution, just perfect here. They get 3 kills and a free urn. And that's just a signature Melee Creeps team fight. I mean, the game is turning against them, and just pure execution delivers a massive fight win, arguably one of the biggest of the game so far. Arctic kills a Walker and TPs away, though, so the macro game still being played well by Bunny with Clock.
This case is full of surprises.
Yeah, but in return, a Walker goes down on the left side of the map for Melee Creeps. Really important to get those slots opened up, especially because John's so far ahead of everyone, so kind of needs them to open those up. But John's going to go down.
John's down for it, though. That's a massive kill, right? We talk about all the farm you give to John. He buys Glass Cannon and just gets instantly deleted.
Headed to blue.
Yeah, the build is kind of nasty, especially when you get to like Vampiric after you've got the Glass Cannon and the Lucky Shot. It's like it's kind of painful.
Interesting knockdown being bought here, potentially for Viper. I mean, I can see it, right? You need something to deal with this Vindicta and Lash as well. You don't really have great tools for that. You don't want to rely on having to hit that Viper ulti every single time to lock down some of these flying characters. Ricochet now in line for Arctic too, so some very big buys coming in from the cores. John still leading the way in terms of that soul status. We'll have to see if that continues. Buddy with Clock looking pretty potent as well. I mean, Arctic and Aiden leading the way in the damage potential. Viper's not an easy kill anymore, though. Has like enough survivability, the reactive barrier, all of these spirit items to kind of delay and disrupt any kind of attackers or gankers.
I wonder who at Valve came up with the idea that when you're sliding, you don't use bullets. Like, you don't need to reload any of the bullets. Like, it's such a novel mechanic.
Yeah, and it ends up being kind of genius and kind of like leading the game itself. Billy knocked down, cleaned up as well. Second knockdown as well on board for Saya. So a lot of tools now to lock down some of these players. Tanner, as the heavy frontliner, started to fall off a bit in this game. He's going to struggle to maybe play some of these engagements, as a collapse could be coming in. Maybe the Creeps bringing a lot of players around this mid lane. Abrams looking to get behind and maybe catch somebody off guard. Pins in, does not grab anybody though, and actually just has to run for his life now. Instant back out from Fishcake. Is he able to get out of this one? Seems like the answer is yes for now. Ido also taking the same route out.
A lull on the map at the moment. And 10 seconds until the next earn and buffs. Here we go. Full capacitor.
DMB's been a bit of the punching bag in this game on the carry roll, right? John Johnson having a little bit of the safer farm. DMB's having to maybe be a little bit more risky. Play around those blinks. Not easy to do, though, in this game in particular, right? With Aiden, that lockdown is so powerful. Lash ulti, yes, enough to grab Abrams out of the ulti as well. The snipe is good from Vin. Of course it is. Aiden picks up those bonus souls. A fight maybe also taking place on the left lane. Kelvin looking to assist this, and John takes down Arctic. It's one of those key heavy cores. DMB finally getting his chance to get a bit of a split push off, but Cool Cheese is here to make the defense, and DMB's wisely not going to try and force his hand.
Still, big fight around the sun here, looking to take place. When Clock feels like with all the advantages here, just running through Saya on the Kelvin, and suddenly it's looking really bad here now for melee creeps.
The souls, they're lost.
What?
They're in the map. The soul bag. I don't think I've ever seen that, actually.
Need a shovel. Someone get a shovel.
It's like the Viper was sliding or something and dropped her souls inside the map. Somebody get a shovel. You need a Kelvin dome to go under the map to get the souls.
All right, well, there's going to be some more souls on that the right side of the map there. The end. I think go for it. I feel like, why not? Why not do it? Okay. Interestingly, right now the differential in the game is super close. Like, if I had no soul reading, I would assume that BWC were like 20k ahead of least.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think they have a bigger advantage, but here comes the catch. Silence is good. DBR already used. There's too much lockdown now for DMB, and struggling to find that effectiveness on Wraith in this game. And it turns into now a major team fight. Scout down as well. So down 2. Do you want to commit to this melee? Because you're kind of down some of these key ultimates as well. Nox Nostra silencing Saya, not allowing him to contribute really to this fight. John should be going down as well. The snipes raining in from above. Aiden so sharp and just getting every single kill to be found. Mid boss is up. And John just barely gets out of that one. Which, I mean, could have been a lot worse if you lost the Warden, your most farm character, but pretty bad as it is, Dan. I mean, probably a free mid boss to be hound here for Bunny with Clock, starting to earn them back into that advantage that they so recently lost.
Yeah, Aiden, I wonder what the stats are actually. What are the stats on Aiden? Because he got those 3 kills I feel like he should have got. So he definitely obviously has some assists, but he's been getting a lot of good last hits in the last 10 minutes. So 32k, that's pretty nasty. We were looking for that big Vindicta game. He's having it. And that does certainly create a huge problem because Scout is extremely squishy, as is Ido, as is Saya at this point. And to be honest, Fishcake as well. These are all squishy to a 32k Vindicta. So the snowball effect is really a huge problem right now for melee creeps. And in addition to now having 3 rejuve crystals to deal with, this is where the game could get fully out of hand.
Hey, you think about it, it's kind of a scary prospect, right? In terms of the way melee creeps play, they love to funnel a ton of farm to John, which means a lot of these players, like especially Sai and Scout, relatively poor. This game, Ido is as well. Abrams also finding, can't get those souls. But now that means you're so vulnerable to the Vindicta snipes. Like, yeah, Vindicta's not going to do much with the snipes to somebody like Warden, but that's not needed. If you just kill all the supports first, Warden isn't going to be able to 1v5, right? He needs those supports to continue to buff him up, to lock down targets for him, to slow people and set up some of those kills. You can see even Ido is kind of scared to farm, and for good reason, right? There's a real threat of invasion from a triple rejuve Bunny with Clock team that is looking to really crack this game open around maybe one of these walkers.
Headed to Greenwich.
1 minute to go for the next urn and buffs. Bunny McClock in a commanding position. Looking for these pickoffs right now. And the creeps have to be so careful. There's nothing left on the map for them. This is one of those sort of spots which feels just horrible. Absolutely horrible. Can they come back? I mean, it's only a 20k deficit, so they just have to somehow manage not losing walkers, or at least if they do lose walkers, like trading effectively. But I don't know how they do it here, Jay.
Looks like Tanner starting a fight. TP in from Arctic as well. If they can catch this Abrams, it would be a nice find for the team fight. Yes, they pull in deep. Tornado is good, and this Abrams just absolutely rolled on. Colossus popped as well from the Billy. Standing tall, DMP does put some good counter damage out, so it won't be necessarily easy to continue to just run this fight down. But there's also a massive pressure on the mid-walker. Wisely, Bunny with Clock are backing out here on the side lane if they can. One rejuve, though, likely to go down. Tanner living incredibly long, though, and maybe has backed out long enough. Mid-walker down, the rotation's going to come right back into this. And so for the price of one rejuve crystal, you get a kill onto Fishkick and you get a walker. I think that's absolutely a winning trade right now. John going in full sending to the other side walker. Can he get out of this play, though? 10,000 souls unspent. Would love to get that active. It's a game of cat and mouse here on the side lane. The team dying without him, but still that John would be the big prize, and I think he may have slipped the net. Nice sneaky move from John. I mean, if he dies there, it really could be the game right in that moment. But I think he does slip away, and I mean, still it's a pretty bad scenario, right? Still, Melee Graves have a lot of ground to make up in this match.
Lots of ground, and it's come back on, but at this point, it's so much control for BWC in the crystals. They're going to be in good stead to contest that. So, God, it's just suffocating right now on the map. All the lanes pushed up. 35k of Vindicta.
It's hard to progress things much though. It's Money with Clock here. Either Rejuve's almost out, so you know forcing a base siege doesn't feel like that realistic. John gets the Spell Slinger off, and as tough as the game has been for Melee Creeps, John will bring the damage. So you know, like in a way, even though yes, the net worth advantage is pretty significant for Bunny with Clock, they can't just like play with impunity. John will absolutely kill them. Phantom Strike for Fishcake is another big grab. So the threats of the pickoffs are very, very real. The Rejuve really is your best asset, and it's almost gone, Dan. So I really think Melee Creeps,
look at this
despite
spot.
how close this game is, it could be a problem for them. It's a nice little cheeky nuke from Gibbs there.
Yeah, I think you make a really, really good point there. It's kind of stalling out because of that a little bit. But I do love the spot that Gibbs there to try to set up a crazy death slam.
They're baiting the Billy. They're hoping, daring somebody's going to come in and try and deal with Tanner. Maybe the prize they're going to have to take is just Scout. You're going to be happy to take any kill on the map right now. He's a little bit overconfident. Now TP straight into the fight. They're going to be trying to force an urn drop here. But Bunny read the play, and yeah, they're in real trouble. They're being caught out here. Yeah, Ido down. Saya soon to follow. I think he pops the dome, tries to stay alive, but the lash ult's good over the top. DMP is going to get the urn in, but I mean, if it costs your whole team's lives, I'm not sure this is worth it. John, low HP, drops down. Even with the Warden ult, he's not enough to stay alive. DMP got the urn in this fight, but can't really deal the damage, and it's a full team wipe. Bunny with Clock, clean house. A great pick onto Scout. Great patience from Bunny with Clock, beating somebody out onto the map, punishing them, and then instantly Arctic TPs right in. The comfort, the experience on the Mirage really showing itself.
Yeah, it's looking good here for BWC for a map 3, potentially, if things continue in this fashion. Going to be getting all the base objectives. And so many red numbers on the top right side of the screen. Everyone's dead. Everyone's dead.
I mean, this could very easily be game. Aiden has really gotten to a pretty crazy soul amount here. Curious what his build is. Gibbs grabs Unstoppable too, so it's going to be, there's not really a way to shut down the lash ult anymore. You just have to dodge it. But when it comes to the base siege, I think this is the perfect item for Gibbs. It's exactly what he needs. Just guarantee a powerful lash ulti. I guess there's still the dome from Saya to maybe deny things on the defensive end, but that's usually not going to be able to save everyone, right? There's going to be somebody left out of the dome almost always. Silencer on Arctic, so good luck dealing any damage this game. It's Mirage hitting you with Inhibitor, Silencer, Ricochet.
This is just a sad moment in the game, Jake, where it feels like you're dead. You're kind of dead. But you're not
yeah, like
fully
how
dead.
do you play as Melee Creeps? Like I mean, I think Like, think about last game when Bunny with Clock had that desperate run out of the base. I kind of think that's the territory we're in for Melee Creeps. They need to find some kind of a big move, get active on the map. There is a lone lash on the left side of the map. I mean, that could be a nice target if they know he's there. And for now, Bunny with Clock are playing this one slow and careful. They don't want to throw this advantage. They also know, hey, look, we should for sure win this game. We're up 30K. You know, the patrons dropped. We have every advantage, but you only have one set of base guardians down, so still no fast zips in the side lanes. And there's still a threat, right? You lose like you lose one player, right? Like one lash goes down, and honestly, that's enough to equalize the fighting power of these teams. Mid boss is up though, and that's likely going to force the decisive team fights of the game.
This is really interesting because we're only here because Melee Creeps did so well to stall out that those last rejuve crystals. We don't almost ever see all the rejuve crystals just time out like that. So this mid boss fight could be absolute. In fact, it should be absolutely everything in this game now. Totally agree.
Could be a catch. Looks like Arctic stepping up to the plate here. Kind of fearless on this from Mirage. Just feels like he's unkillable, unstoppable. Here comes the unstop from Lash. Lash does grab one. It's enough for the follow-up, and that's Saya down. You lose one of your crucial team fighters. Liv deployed. Parrying just in case he bought counterspell on accident. Did that game. Abrams ult over the top, but it's not even enough to really get him out of trouble. Aiden is down. One of the key damage threads is caught, but Ido stuck in a corner. Now John needs to bring the damage, needs to carry this fight. DMB maybe can do it. And down in this room is actually maybe a good fight for Melee Creeps. This is where Gordon and Abrams look particularly strong. Arctic super low HP. He's continuing to double down in this fight. Bags on the ground, but DMB is strong, and somehow, some way, Melee Creeps stay together in the secret shop and get this fight win. DMB online on this Wraith, and that's a fight win that gets you right back into the game.
That's insane. If they can convert this into mid boss, they are so in the game. They are going to be carrying the urn at the moment, but I guess, do they have the damage to mid boss? I mean,
he can. I think Wraith does. Honestly. They're losing base guardians for this, so it's not free actually. This is like a relatively costly death. I don't know if Tanner can't really do anything about this. Yeah, it is a free mid boss, and it's triple reju. So Melee Creeps, like, it took him a long time to get there, but we talked about this very early on in the draft. Like, the ultra late Wraith plus Warden, both like full build, is scary. Whoa, the patron threat is there. John spawning, or rather Saya spawning, so he'll be able to clean this one up.
Come on, little dudes. Come on.
I mean, honestly, like, if Tanner had just gone straight down mid, I think I guess Saya would have spawned and been able to, like, ult the patron, but it's definitely a little bit scary.
The patron should be able to clean up those little troopers. Like
yeah, the patron is just a bum, dude. The bro does not even help in his own defense. It's an absolute freeloader.
Man.
Being forced into the triple rejuve. Oh wow, this is very greedy. Ultimate deployed from Scout. Drops the urn for now, but Divine Bear picked up. I mean, this is super risky to go for it. They're gonna get it off, I guess. Knockdown used. I guess you're gonna be happy to fall back from this play without losing your team. I mean, Melee Creeps, they would love a team fight right now. Full rejuves far from their base. But in the thought, they get the urn off. DBR is available. No Sanguine, though. He cannot die here. Ooh, that's a big kill on Demand. And now John smells blood in the water. He's charging forward, swarming in on top of them. Has the Spellbreaker, incredibly tanky here. Gets the ultimate out as well. Chained in by Billy, but he's happy to be pulled in. Happy to get aggressive. One crystal down. His second falls. John drops out of this one. The hold on. Arctic could really twerk this one out. Mirage could be deadly here. But the 2 kills, 2 crystals. It's a good trade for Melee Creeps. You're happy to find these. Maybe this can open up a siege. You need to drop that patron, of course. Bunny with Clock have a lot of room to work with in terms of defending this base. But they're down 2 players, so tempo advantage for Melee Creeps if they want to force another fight.
Yeah, this is really interesting now. There's a good chance for Melee Creeps to continue this forward pressure. Need to get that Walker down as the fight continues here, and Melee Creeps looking to go in for the kill here. There's the charge coming in from Fishcake. He's locking down. Oh, can he lock him down? Can he lock down? DMB's trying his best to do it. It's going to be a very difficult there. DMB will finally fall, but the Rejuve Crystal will have him back up straight away. And all 6 members are alive. And there's 4 down for Bunny with Clock. This could turn into more than just a Walker.
Yeah, this could very easy. I think this is definitely going to turn into a base siege. Melee Creeps, they have the damage. John and DMB are going to crush through this base in a matter of seconds. Look at that Shrine drop. Still a few players alive for Money with Clock. They could try and find some counter kills, and there's no rejuves left, so there's no margin for error. Remember, Melee Creeps don't have a base to defend on their side. They cannot die during this siege. If this siege turns into a failure, it could actually be the game turning against them. John drops the Patron. Is he going to decide to stay and fight? Does have that Vamp Burst. You got to remember, he does have the big threat to try and turn this one around. Matt goes down. John standing, delivering that damage. Colossus in with the Billy. He's trying to get on top of John. Needs more damage to follow this one up. The lift is good. Metal Skin is the Billy. It'll be so tanky, so threatening as he chases down John. And Bunny with Clock maybe snatching this one right back. Tanner doing what he can to delay, denying some of the follow-up from John. Tether is good. No debuff remover on this Warden, but the damage is immense. Aiden bites off way more than he can chew. Saya's still here, trying to keep John alive. He's tanky, but he's not tanky enough. The damage is good from Arctic following this one up. Saya, the last member standing for melee groups, the last one standing between them and a game 3, but it seems Bunny with Clock have done enough. They should be able to charge this one down 30 seconds without a player to defend. And that will be Bunny with Clock forcing a game 3 in this series. Just when it looked just like they had thrown enough, they managed to bring this one back. An ill-fated base siege from melee creeps.
Oh, ridiculous. You know, when we were on John and I saw the Vampiric was like, just came online again. I was like, oh my God, this is like, if he wins that 1v1 against the Billy, who the hell knows what happens? But it's going to be a game 3. It's been decided. GGs are exchanged by melee creeps and Bunny with Clock as we go to a 3rd map here at the Night Shift.
Oh my God. I mean, melee creeps made that one so scary. Like, they very nearly brought that one back. It seemed like it was completely out of control, but I mean, Bunny with Clock, they earned the win in the end, and melee creeps now are going to have to stare down the barrel of a game 3. You could argue they did a little bit of trolling this game with a, huge change up in the draft from what was a very successful game 1, maybe unnecessary. But hey, now it comes down to the wire. Now it comes down to this, and there's no more room for mistakes, no more room for excuses.
They got to tighten up the ship. They got to get the comp on lock. They've got to tighten it up, Jake. They can't allow themselves to lose the streak. They can't lose the first Night Shift to 2026. They can't do it. So I'm super curious to see what they do to do that, because this is a good performance, and I think there's a few things that could go away. I think the Viper could go away. I think allowing the draft to have Aiden on this Vindicta also seems to be a problem. So maybe they allow the Warden to be picked. Maybe that's better.
Yeah, I will say, I thought Aiden's Vindicta was just disgusting this game. I mean, he's so good on the character. It's been a long time since people have let him have it through. And now with Vindicta out of the meta, melee creeps think, you know what, this is the time. We don't really need to ban the Vindicta. It's fine. It's not that good of a character. But apparently, Aiden makes it work still. I mean, man, if Bunny with Clock didn't have that kind of a massive advantage into this game, this one very easily could have gone wrong. I agree with you on some of those adjustments, but I mean, man, John active in the late game, just absolutely beaming down all comers. It really takes a full swarm of the inhibitor plus silencer from Arctic to deny some of that follow-up damage.
Yeah, when the spell slinger, Vampiric, Glass Cannon, Lucky Shot, it's so insane.
Ridiculous.
On Warden.
Look at that base damage, 33,000 objective damage on John. Monstrous. Aiden top damaging the lobby here on Vin. Huge impact from Aiden. Look at it. Okay, Aiden just basically solo carried this game. I mean, it's not obviously not that, but 18, 2, and 13. He's super active in the early game. Tempoed into the full snipe build, became a massive carry threat in the late game with the Blood Tribute and Blood Tribute Unstoppable and Merc Mag. So I love the scaling from Aiden. Became the carry that his team needed in this match. And it took a lot of threat to bring down John in the end. But this is Bunny with Clock forcing a game 3 after game 1. I wasn't sure I believed that they could do it. But they made believers of us all now.
Yeah, totally. And it's going to force melee creeps to really just play things by the book, to bring out their best possible game so they can lock this one away and keep the streak going. And that would be, as you mentioned earlier, the 9th win in a row. And maybe that's a good point to throw to break, Jake, here as we gear up for the 3rd and final map of this evening.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Night Shift. And it comes down to this, Dan, our final map of Deadlock for the night. It is Bunny with Clock 1-1, bringing it back against the melee creeps, forcing a game 3. Comes down to this, a fully decisive match. And I believe another opportunity for Bunny with Clock to get this win, to stifle melee creeps at the threshold of a potential 9-week win streak.
True. it is going to be interesting to see what changes now in the draft, because it did feel like maybe game 2 was a little bit experimental. I don't want to, I don't want to just, say too much about that necessarily, but we got Kelvin. And I feel like at this point, if we're seeing Kelvin, it's not a good sign. I think we will not see Kelvin in this next draft. I don't think either team is going to want to pick Kelvin. And I think we're going to see much more conventional choices, I think, being made on both sides. So who gets the first pick on this third map?
I'm not sure actually who's gonna get. Maybe it's is Control go to back to Bunny with Clock, because I believe as the challengers, Bunny with Clock get control of the who gets first, second in the first game. So I assume it goes back and forth. I'm not sure. We'll see who gets first and second pick if that ends up shaking up the draft further. But now it's a little bit worrisome for Melee Creeps, right? Because you can just go back to what worked in game 1, but that also leaves room for Bunny with Clock to respond with their own adaptations, such as the Vindicta with how successful it was in this game for Aiden. It's something you have to worry about when it comes to the early game tempo skirmishes. I don't think there's much of an advantage. I think Melee Creeps maybe has a little bit better macro and overall team strategy, putting John to these huge soul leads, but the early game skirmishing, I think, is a bit of an advantage for Bunny with Clock, and it's one that Vindicta can really escalate and make a more significant issue.
Can you imagine that first game if instead of Kelvin you had Vindicta instead? That would have been really sick. Because it would have
Kelvin
been...
I wasn't feeling it.
No, and it's like Vindicta gives a lot of that burst spirit damage that you get from Pocket, but just in a different format. And obviously they're able to kind of work around it and playmake around it in a way that's actually really effective. Whereas, again, the Kelvin wasn't really it. So Vindicta is really interesting, and I like this. I like that Aiden's basically, I think it's fair to say, he's the best Vindicta in North America. I've never seen anybody else do what he does at this level in North America. Yeah. So that's really cool, because one of the reasons Melee Creeps are hard to play against, draft against, is because they have so many best-in-class people, especially, the John heroes, which right now it feels like the biggest two threats are probably the Geist and the Doorman. And the Doorman has been an opening ban, so they might give up the Geist again, potentially. But I wouldn't be as worried if there is a Vindicta on the other side to kind of play counter to that.
I think Melee Creeps at their best when they run these really dominant front lines, whether you give John the Warden or the Geist or even the Doorman, whatever he plays, and then just if you're able to get things like Billy and Shiv alongside him, as we saw in game 1, or Abrams, and just be the team that is running the other one over. The other team has to fall back. The other team has to react to you, and let John have the space to really cook and bring that damage down. That's where Melee Creeps look the best. So I kind of hope they prio some of those heavy frontliners, some of the top prio picks of the meta, like Billy, in this draft. First pick is going to be 2 Bunny with Clock, though, and I'm curious to see rather what they end up grabbing in this top slot. What is the best buy? I wouldn't be surprised if it's Billy again.
Big mistake.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I wonder if we get the Vindicta ban
in the opener, no less. Actually, I respect that. I feel like Aiden is actually a player that maybe has been, I don't know if he's been slept on, because people recognize he's a strong player, but I think he's been one of those up and coming players that has risen in the ranks, and you're starting to wonder where's his peak. He could be one of the best players in NA right now, getting respect bans on relatively out of meta heroes. Before the last map, no one touched Vindicta today. Aiden comes out, has a huge game, and you have to opening wristband, respect it. That's already generating a bit of advantage for Bunny with Clock, getting them on the heroes that they would rather get in these opening picks. That gets you Billy in this spot.
Monster hunter, huh?
Yeah. It's like in chess when you're kind of stealing a turn by forcing someone to have to react to something. It's I forget what the time is in chess now, but anyway, it's really cool to see that, because I think that this game is all about having those types of players on your team. You have to create these disruptions in the draft with that value that's outsized somewhere where in the meta it otherwise isn't. So that's very cool to see. But we get the steal there, because Aiden, they have to pick Warden now. Yeah, because what else is Aiden going to play? His Mina's gone, his Vindicta's gone.
That might be true, but I don't think it's that bad getting forced to pick Warden.
Warden.
No.
I think you're
Yeah.
Sure, we'll take Warden here. If anything, the Mina is a bit of an odd draft for Melee Creeps, and maybe that's one that they've wanted to snatch back from people like Arctic, who've been playing it pretty effectively today. But Arctic has also looked amazing on the Mirage. Arguably, that's an even more comfortable pick for him. And so I think Bunny with Clock are getting a draft they want, and they grab the Geist as well. So I think this would have been the instant response pick from melee creeps as a really good counter to Warden, and also something that we know John is super confident on, as we saw from that like full rainbow stat card in game 1.
This draft looks nice to Bunny O'Clock now, and the one thing that is interesting is where what's Matt going to go to?
Oh my god, they're stealing everything. They take the Mirage as well. They're actually role swapping in this draft.
Super interesting. Okay, the second round of bans comes in, and okay, now if you're melee creeps, do you want to ban the Page? Page is a nice pickup for both teams right now. So I'm very curious.
I think melee creeps get first pick right coming out of this. So
yes.
I think I think Bunny with Clock will have to be the team who bans it. Because I agree. I think it's likely to go to melee creeps immediately after the ban phase, if it's not banned.
This is really interesting. Pocket's still available as well for both teams.
Pocket also impactful here. And they ban Ivy instead. Oh, interesting. So
yeah, that's smart.
I do think the support Ivy is pretty nice right now. And I think that's something that Saya will be super comfortable on and able to have a lot of impact on. As we saw, some of the playmaking in the early game fights was really huge from him in game 1. But I think you're right. I would be surprised if it's anything but a Page here.
It was smart to
Paradox.
Okay, so they're actually stealing everything, man.
Yeah.
School Cheese has been playing Paradox all day, but I actually I feel like it would have been better to grab a Page. Like, I would love to see a Page coming out for BWC and maybe something like a Holiday.
Interestingly as well, I could have seen the Bebop going to melee crews because where's John? Like, what's he playing right now? We don't have any of his super obvious picks. I mean, they may still go for it. They could pick
Mirage,
it late.
But we haven't seen a ton of Mirage out of John.
Yeah.
But I think just in general, it's like a farming core. But I talked about like wanting to see melee creeps get to be the team with the bigger, brawlier front line, and that is not the case. I mean, Bunny with Clock have like about as strong of a front line you can get. And they get the Holiday too, which I love the Holiday this game. I think the only thing you're lacking in this draft is somebody to just snatch that first kill and get you that opportunity, and the follow-up is going to be there. Abram's going to follow up with the pin, Warden's got the trap. Billy can also initiate those fights maybe with the ulti, but the cooldown is of course a little bit longer on that.
Time for a little field work.
A Dynamo! Okay, all right. This is a Dynamo game. Actually, this is a Dynamo game for melee creeps. You've gone overwhelming frontline. Dynamo is actually a genuinely good answer to that.
Oh my God.
Whether it's the Black Hole, the Stomp, even the Quantum Entanglement can like pull people out of tough spots when they've been grabbed by Billy or Warden. And the Kelvin too, not the Kelvin. Oh, I actually lost all faith in the draft from the Kelvin.
Oh my God.
This draft is zany for melee creeps. They're risking the 9 streak on this draft. This is some wild stuff.
This is crazy.
No more hiding.
Oh my God, it's a crazy nice draft.
I feel like melee creeps, they need this Dynamo to work out in a big way. Like, they need Dynamo to be a damage threat on top of being a key team fighter. And I don't even know. I feel like this is just, you can't predict this. You can't predict this game, man. This is out of control. Wild drafting from melee creeps. Bunny with Clock also pretty unconventional from them. I think this one is going to turn very aggressive very fast. If there's ever been a burger boxing game, I think this might be it.
I think this is a nice draft, but I don't know who's going to play Pocket for Bunny with Clock. I'm trying to think because Matt is Holiday, so.
Oh, true.
So I don't know who plays the Pocket.
Does Gibbs play Pocket or?
Oh, maybe. Yeah, maybe. Gibbs.
I think it's a fair point. I don't know either. I think it's kind of like maybe they just felt like Pocket is such a good pick right now because you're up against Shiv. You wanted that high mobility hero to follow up with Big Spirit nuking. You have plenty of like low mobility, heavy frontline damage. You need that high mobility hero who can catch up to the pace of somebody like Holiday and follow her around in the early game or be active in the same way that Holiday can be active by showing up to ganks and some of these mid game team fights.
All right,
it comes down to this, Dan. Melee Creeps versus Bunny with Clock. All the marbles on game 3, and it's a Dynamo and a Kelvin when the chips are down.
Tell me about these lanes. Tell me about the lanes.
All right, so start in the right lane. So they're flying over there. Warden Billy strikes me as pretty powerful. But then again, Dynamo, I actually don't know how Dynamo is as a laner. I think in theory he can be good with the stomps, but at this level of play, people are so good at using the verticality, and you're just not really able to land the stomps the way you might otherwise expect to. And it's going to be John on Dynamo. So he's actually going to be playing the gun carry Dynamo build. This is absolutely wild from Melee Graves. I kind of feel like they got outdrafted here. I kind of think Bunny the Clock forced them into a sort of a very awkward scenario of, you know, feeling like this is their best chance is to go for like a cheeky Dynamo style to punish the heavy frontliners. But I'm just not entirely convinced. It's like so much is riding on you just hitting a huge singularity and big stomps in the fight when it doesn't. It's not as complicated for Bunny with Clock to make their fight work, right? Just run in, shoot guns.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's gonna be an interesting one. The John Dynamo is really curious because I feel like Dynamo was actually in a spot where I felt like there was a window where he was actually OP, really OP, when the kinetic pulse extended for like basically forever when you got to like the higher levels of spirit scaling and stuff, because you could just infinitely catch people. You get like 4 stomps after another. You could just lock people down forever with loads of huge damage. So that was insane.
Did he get zip knocked or parried? Something happened. Their side got cut down.
Sure.
And this is a Shiv Kelvin lane. I mean, this is supposed to be a strong lane. Obviously, it's fallen off a little bit in terms of, you know, the historical power of this lane. Stomp onto just one. Nice jump over the top there by Aiden on this Warden. This is a lane. I mean, Mina does a lot of damage, but she cannot take as good as she can give, man. She really is a squishy one in the laning stage. And John's trying to be a little bit greedy, trying to build more of a you know, high damage impact style of build. Speaking of high damage, though, Shiv is on the other side of that. Getting spammed out. One more shot to get the kill. Is it going to be enough? Saya's getting some cheeky melees off. Is it going to be enough to take down Abrams? Yes, it is.
A snowball kill. He's got the snowball.
Oh my god. It's all about leveling up the snowball. Surely okay. The cape is explosion.
Capable enough.
Is that the first one today?
Shiv took a reset on the HP. Oh my, wait. Oh, he's right behind you. Okay, the dagger is good enough. Matt is down. Dude, he's full. He hasn't bought anything yet. What was there something you saved for at 3K on Shiv? Like, I truly don't know.
Just rip the torment pulse. I don't know.
That would be great. That actually would go kind of wild, right? In the laning phase. He might do that, genuinely. Like, that could be insane. We never see that.
Walker as well. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, I think Balewalker is not as good anymore, so they nerfed the heal, but big damage, by the way, in the mid lane. Geist running for the hills. Arctic gets cut down. DMB, nice shot to finish that one off.
I see guys.
Cool Cheese.
I see pocket.
Can't do enough. By the way, it is going to be Matt on the Pocket and Cool Cheese on the Holiday this game. So Matt, maybe just feeling like the Pocket. I mean, I guess Pocket's like a more important hero.
Yeah,
to
makes
have
sense.
expertise, and in a way, this is Cool Cheese's role. He's been playing for the team all day, right? On the Paradox.
Yeah. It makes a lot of sense. I like it. I love it. Dude, I actually think the melee creeps are in a lot of trouble. Because, okay, so there's another thing too. Is that John doesn't play supports. So we're going to see some kind of carry gun build, surely, right?
People do play gun carry Dynamo. It's just not really at this level. And I think it's honestly just a little bit sus. But it's John. I just refuse to believe he's going to build support this game. Like, Dynamo has decent gun damage. It's pretty meaningful, right? When you get that quantum, you set yourself up. But in the end, the black hole means you're a little bit scarier to like go on. But you don't have a natural steroid. You don't have raw damage. He goes to opening decay as the first item for Shiv. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. A lot of single target aggression. But it also means he has no sustain for the lane. Like, it's some good damage, but it's almost a little bit too early to make the decay as effective as you would want it to be.
I guess as well, if you feel like you're in a lane where you just can't do anything, you can slap decay some people. You can always do that.
Yeah, just spam it. I mean, it's good in lane harass, right? I mean, this turned into a little bit of a wild brawl here around the right side buff. Gun buff. It's going to be going to Scout. Warden ulti coming in. Aiden getting active here. And it seems to be a good connection. He's staying on top of Scout. If he kills the Scout, yeah, Scout loses the gun buff as well. Aiden, beautiful rotation. I mean, Aiden crushed through game 2, brought them into this match, and now has a strong start on the Warden. It's exactly the scenario you want to find yourselves in as Bunny with Clock hoping to get. Would this be their first championship win? They've had so many shots on goal against Melee Crepes. But this could finally be the week that they get it done.
Yeah, big skirmish here in the mid lane is actually going to go to Melee Crepes there. Looks like they're going to get some kills on the chase down. Ooh, okay. Seismic slam out, maybe?
What is going on?
What is happening? Oh, this is on top of the obelisk. I don't know what's going on.
Maybe he's just trying to sit up there and stall as long as he could. Gibbs does go down. John doing what damage he can, but doesn't want to rip the black hole there. No damage follow-up. Save him from that one. Just rather save the cooldown for another day. But Aiden and Tanner should be able to get this Guardian down. They need to continue shooting the Guardian, though. It's not a free kill. Tanner, where are you, buddy? He's not shooting the Guardian. That might not go down here. Paradox gets lassoed in deep, but follow-up just not quite there in time. Took him long enough, but finally they get that Guardian. Arctic does go down in the mid lane where John has roamed into. Got some value out of the black hole there, it seems.
Ooh, okay. That's actually quite nice, you know, denying the kill from Matt there. Cheese poses a threat to John, and I mean, for me, it's like all eyes on John because like you're picking Dynamo, you gotta have a crazy something to show.
Dynamo public enemy #1 syndrome. Got hard focus there. 2 players now escaping on just slivers of HP. Scout not gonna be so lucky. Saya also coming to the mid lane, the party lane here. Absolutely everybody showing up. Tornado away from Mirage, dodges the flask. DMB's
Fishcake actually is ahead.
Yeah, I mean, Fishcake's doing really well, right? Being able to grade for the 3K item is kind of wild. I guess that's the Kelvin effect, in being able to assist in the lane. And now it's going to be pretty hard to lane against a Shiv with the K. You just show up in the lane, he rips the K on you, gets more or less rage pretty quickly off the back of that. And now he can kind of fire it up. So this is Fishcake's game to carry, I think. He's going to be the one who needs to be the standard bearer for a while. John not going to be able to have pure farm the way he typically does on the Dynamo. Has to be definitely a little bit more active. Jukes are good for the moment. Swap is good as well. Arctic cut down, no swap, or no life swap rather, to health exchange to be able to keep him alive into that one. Saya incredibly low. The trades are coming in. Gilbane comes online. That means Shiv is going to profit even more off some of these kills.
Yeah, I don't know what build we're going to see from John, if it's going to be the gun build, because you can farm like crazy if you do an opening which is more like spirit and like vitality split, because the kinetic pulses, if you get the extra charges, you can rip those on camps and just like clear waves with like 1. So it's actually like you can farm pretty fast with it, but it's just, you know, I don't know. This is all experimental.
Yeah, no one knows what's going to happen to the carry Dynamo here for the night shift.
Oh.
Gibbs trying to get into this fight, but needs to keep up a little bit early. Gibbs healing up off that passive. Here comes the lasso. Perfect timing. Grabs Saya. Just keeping him still here. Barrel bomb as well to follow that up. Damage is good.
Our blue walker is under attack.
2 kills found around the map. DMB and Saya dropping. John as well. Turning into a deathmatch here. Shiv still healthy on this lane. Doesn't have the execute. Mina's coming in though to try to assist this one. The swap is good, and Mina incredibly low. Just has to bats right out of there. Arctic swap just keeping him alive for now. Full aggression though, is I believe that's Aiden ripping the ult into the walker for not too much damage. DMB teleporting in for the defense. Maybe teleporting too far though. Hold on. Yeah, slowing X is good. You're not going to be able to take a tornado out of this one. Damage follow from Aiden is really strong. Are they going to be able to get the lockdown in? Yes, they are. Aiden finishes that one off. Swap comes in. They're trying to take down this Warden. Saya's here as well. Surely Billy can't stand up toe-to-toe against this one. Oh, the Billy procs are not enough, though. And Saya and Scout showing up just when the team needed them, able to clear off some of these key frontline cores that would love to have a bigger lead in this game.
Yeah, Ido and Fishcake doing a decent job, you know, keeping competitive on the farm, which is really important. And it's actually only Aiden that's comparable on the Bunny Block side here. Oh my god, where the hell did he come from?
Superman here coming out of nowhere. Gibbs just styling on him, just letting him know, dude, wherever you are, I can reach you. You're never safe.
Gadget, rocket boots.
Literally sending a message there.
Oh my god. Okay, well.
Picked up by Saya. He might go for the drop here. Oh, Shiv looking for a siege here. It's a decant to Abrams. Maybe just happy to defend this Guardian, rather. Shiv knows. I mean, you get lassoed, you get pinned in, and, you know, end up getting pulled too deep. Things could go wrong. A push to attempt to do this earn drop, but the wave's against you here. And Tanner's actually looking for kills as well on the side lane. This urn is a lot of emphasis on this urn from both teams. Matt has found Ido. Maybe that's just enough space created. Yeah, with the quantum entanglement as well, ready to deploy if needed. He can save that though. Nice free urn, good pickup for melee creeps inside. They get a guardian as well for their troubles, opening up a small soul lead.
Chase down. Oh, they're going to find Fishcake here. Would be a really big pick to find. Gonna have to go deep, dive beyond the Guardian there. Oh, there's the chain gang connection. You are going absolutely nowhere, sir. Fishcake is going to get taken out, and so will the Guardian. And that's the wonder. Does John have the Dynamo Bauble left to complete?
Yeah, he's trying to do the holiday challenge.
Yeah.
I don't think it works in custom games, but to see Gibbs forced into a desperation pin. Cut down there by DME with a few assistants. The game's actually evened up quite a bit here. John, heavy damage now. Burst down Matt, even with the affliction on him. Matt was relying on dodging, but man, with this rapid recharge, 4 stomps for Dynamo, that's a lot to be worried about.
Yeah, it's quite a lot. Obviously, there's not much spirit damage, though. That's just 2,400. No, is that 3,200 item? 800 and 2,400, yeah. So it's not a lot of spirit damage just yet. I'm curious to see, what he's going to go for. He's got the Swift Striker already, so that I think it's going to be a lot of orange for sure.
Yeah, probably just enough spirit maybe to get those investment spikes. Probably worthwhile with the stomp.
I see Abrams headed to York.
DMB has done just that. This is kind of DMB now in the proper solo carry spot here on Mirage. Next up, probably going to grab maybe some boots and a debuff remover. Chase down being attempted, but yeah, if you're not able to find those stomps, there's not really a way to catch up to this Billy. Unless Tanner's a little bit greedy and sticks around, John hoping to maybe get a punish off.
So the Veil Walker is actually really nice on Dynamo because it gets you some more vitality for the vitality bonus, but it also, you can move around the map really, really quickly and also like use the invis to get the ults off. So it becomes like really, really nice. Because sometimes you're like deep in enemy territory like this too.
And they're kind of baiting Aiden. He's going to come clear this way, but there's going to be 3 melee creeps players waiting for him. And he's got a 1,000 bag. This would be a juicy kill. Does he read it? Okay, yes, he sees it coming. Dodges the first stomp. Quantum entanglement. Just putting counter pressure on the walker. Trying to get a walker for this, but hold on. If Tanner shows up with a big chain gang, things get a little bit awkward. No quantum. You're trapped as well in this Dynamo. Are you going to rip the ulti here? Is the follow-up good? Trying to, play a little bit off of this Dynamo. Abrams would love to just solo tank the black hole. And John in real trouble with the help of the Scythe. They're trying to get out of this. He may need a black hole just to block the stomp. Okay, he's gonna like to just hold off for now. Aiden kills DMB. Tanner just lives on an absolute sliver. But in the end, it's just, you paid DMB's life for a walker. Not a bad trade.
Headed to yellow.
Well, very interesting situation right now. We have to keep tabs on the John build as it progresses. But for now, pretty even game. Bunny Clock actually slightly behind, which just goes to show that Fishcake's been keeping good pace, as is Ido. DMB not having as much success on the Mirage, usually a heavy farm hero as well. But does have that left lane to clean up with John. So I think we already have a walker down. So melee creeps are in a good spot right now.
Yeah, Shiv should be able to get out of this one. Has a lot of durability. Hold on, I spoke too soon. The chain gang, if it pulls him deep, yes it does. And Shiv, even with his tankiness, maybe not enough. Hold on though, the Kelvin Dome sustaining him for a little bit longer, but as the dome expires, he's gonna maybe die too. The follow-up damage is good, and they're able to clean up Shiv. It does cost Matt his life, and there could be yet another deep chase in. Saya on super low HP, but the rotations are coming in now. Scout comes to assist this one. And across the map, it's melee creeps winning every fight they challenge. Ido finds Cool Cheese as well, and Tanner goes down. I mean, 5 players off the field. Aiden just jungling, just trying to farm it up, as he should here on the Warden, but that's a really decisive moment in the game for the melee creeps. Maybe it's an unconventional draft, but they are making it work, Dan. And oh my, if they attempt a unfavored urn, that would be truly wild. Surely they just hold this one.
That Kelvin Dome was actually insanely good,
Yeah.
because the amount of damage that Fishcake did whilst he was on such little HP with the knives and everything else was actually significant, and it allowed for the 2 extra kills to come out afterwards. So the trade ended up being like plus EV. So that was really awesome actually. And it's crazy. They're fostering a pretty nice lead here. 12k lead, not huge at this point, but huge enough to force a comebacker, and that's actually kind of frustrating.
Yeah, this is like just almost more lead than you want, right, with the comeback urn. And Scout's just going to juggle the urn to prevent it being a threat. But Bunny with Clock are calling the bluff. They're just going to show up in the right jungle, start attacking, trying to get some trades out. Some of the skills missing here, not good connections from Scout. Does get the swap though, and maybe that's all that matters. Makes use of the wall. Big affliction though, hold on from Matt. Now there's a fight to be had. Scout and Ido, I believe, both afflicted. Try and just get back, get out of this fight. It means there's no more affliction to deal with Shiv. Saya's into this fight, but he's doing that without the dome. Ooh, and a point blank brawl for the carries. Who's stronger, DMB or Aiden? I think I kind of favor Aiden in the small room, but here comes John interrupting the one-on-one. Players live traded across the board. The stomp is good. Drops Abrams to the floor. Surely, is there any damage to kill this Paradox? She's dancing so well, and Scout hides between the legs of the walker and picks up the wave clear for his trouble. That's such a massive 1v1 to win. But across the board, I mean, all those traded kills, probably a net positive for Bunny with Clock since the souls are against them.
Yeah, it doesn't end up changing too much, but it's sort of scary that you know, Belly Crease are doing so well with this comp. Like, what can we check out John's build when we have a chance? I'm so curious. But I spammed a lot of Dynamo like a month ago. It's like all I was playing. Really nerfed it.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Definitely going to be a lot of damage this game.
Let's take out Mirage.
Black Hole is down. Maybe that's something that you want to work with as Bunny with Clock, but then again, you don't have Affliction or the Warden ulti, and arguably those are yet more impactful. Oh, that's a big lasso onto the Kelvin, no less. It's the dream target to start on. Is he going to get the dome up in this fight? Maybe yes, the follow-up's not quite there. Yeah, and he just domes in, swap as well. Thinking you could kill the Kelvin, that was your mistake. Not enough damage in that moment. Aiden was not around. And a split fight across the map going extremely well for the melee creeps. 3 kills for them, none against them. You're trying to hunt down a Paradox, but she's still healthy. The Affliction is only going to tickle, and the execution onto Arctic. Fishcake, after a very strong start in this game, he's continuing that snowball. He's gone for the Cult Sack as well, securing that late game. Continuing to stay at pace with the top souls in the match. Oh no, and even Aiden goes down trying to burst Mina. They do get the trades, but it's too expensive. It's surely not worth it. Throwing 2 bodies for 1.
Is absolute.
There we go. Either Hollow Point, extra shot. Okay. Hey man, I'm pretty sure this is a build that I was spamming a lot as well. It's pretty all-rounded, but it's good. It's good damage. And here comes mid boss as well as a nice juicy prize. Although the mid boss doesn't look all that appealing, but we'll get the crystals soon enough. It's very shiny crystals.
You'll eat your crystals and you'll like it. Contest comes in. Bunny with Clock, they're going to try this. A lot of skills pop. Here comes the Black Hole to secure it, though, and that's one of the best uses for Dynamo in the game. Nothing you can do. No way to melee into that. But attempt to clear the crystals here. Hold on, Bunny with Clock. They're still healthy on their surviving players. You'd love to be able to drop a few of these bodies, take away some of the potential threats for the siege. And here comes Aiden over the top, trying to deal what damage he can. DMB has found Tanner, and oh, they're starting to turn into the Warden, even into the last stand. They're just disrespecting it, fighting strong. Cyan DMB low, but not down, and still 2 more Reju crystals to assist in potential Walker sieges to come.
108k to 136. It's not a good look for Bunny with Clock here. These 2 Rejuves are up to get all of these walkers. There's a lot of map as well to devour. There's loads of neutral value just waiting to be had. All of the gambits are being stolen away as well as they're being ransacked, pillaged. There's no police around to prevent the theft.
Oh, wait, they might have gone a little bit too deep here. The lasso is good. Oh, but here comes the swap. They're saving their teammates. Still with 2 Reju crystals. Bunny with Clock were desperate trying to get some of these kills off, but a big heal from Saya keeps them healthy, keeps them fighting. Even Shiv. Oh, and Shirley in the dome. You've gone too far. He's full rage in the dome. He's cleaning up these kills. The heal main is getting him back. He's absolutely full. Every execute now going to Fishcake. 5 players down, and Bunny with Clock absolutely desperate here. It's a full team wipe against them. And that could be the beginning of the end, Dan. A 30k soul lead opens. It was so close. It looked like an opportunity to maybe swing things back in their favor. to maybe make one of those trademark comeback fights. But it's answered with extreme prejudice. Melee creeps, they're going to push the walkers, they're going to push the base, they're going to do the urn, they're sacking the sinners. It's about as bad as it gets here, Dan.
Is John John like the Hoot of NA? Do you think?
I think John John is the John John of NA. You
Yeah, I
know?
feel
Like who's
that's
the John John of EU is the better question.
Yeah. That's fair. Because sometimes, like, you know, you see like Hoot play like a random hero he's never played before that might be off meta, and it's like, oh, he actually just mega carries with it. So, you know, I feel like John John has this like effect a little bit where it's similar, where again, you know, you can see him just pick up random stuff and it just looks insane.
I think this game, honestly, I give a lot of credit to Scout and Saya. I mean, the saves from both Paradox and Kelvin this game have been immaculate. They've like a lot of initiations that have looked like a good opportunity for Bunny with Clock go against them because of the awareness of these frontline fighters. And I mean, John John's like doing his job, but this isn't really like the trademark, you know, John John Omega overfarmed game. I mean, in the end, he's playing Dynamo, right? So yeah, he does some damage, but in the end, he has a lot of utility to bring to the team as well. It's kind of DMB who, by the way, just got Ricochet inhib. That is a really challenging power peak to fight against. I mean, Ricochet inhib, it keeps you up so long into the fight. It denies so much of the damage that comes out from the opponent. And now a lot of tankiness built here for John John, making him a bigger problem. You just always have to be thinking about this Dynamo when Black Hole's online.
Yeah, the big problem too is DMB is fat as well right now. He
Toxic gets him. Yeah. Ticks out the last tick of Toxic, but I mean, John John would have cleaned him up anyway. I mean, and now it's like, you need like Tanner or Cool Cheese to find some sort of godly initiation. But with 2 Reju Crystals, it's like even that won't be enough. You need to somehow sustain deep into that long team fight. Curious to see how DMB plays this one. I think he's going to be really the key player with how much damage he can bring to bear. High ground control, big swap in, immediate catch here from Scout. He's been so sharp this game, and it just continues now with the base siege. Melee Creeps looking to do it in 9 straight. Here comes the chain, though, maybe from Billy. Could be turning this around. Affliction to follow it up. Quantum Entanglement, did that dodge the Afflict? Not quite sure, but it looks good enough for Melee Creeps. The Dome keeping him healthy, locking down Tanner. Fishcake cleans house. Shrine's falling as well. The Patron soon to go next. And Melee Creeps, they sense a championship. They sense the opportunity to take home yet another win here in the night shift.
And look at making that Shiv Kelvin look good once again.
But
there we go. John John with the black hole, the singularity.
Maybe there's enough follow-up. I mean, Fishcake is still healthy. I kind of feel like he could take on the remaining players on his own here. Bunny with Clock just risking it all, gambling it. But I think this is game. Tanner stuck in a fight he cannot win. 5 versus 1 here. And GGs are called. Bunny with Clock, they fought valiantly this series, but for some reason, it was the John John Dynamo that gets it done in the end. Melee Creeps with a very unconventional style, but executed to perfection. Scout, incredible work here on the Paradox this game. And Saya refusing to give up on the Kelvin, proving us all wrong. We just don't understand the game like he does. Bro is different, makes the Kelvin work as good as it has all day in this final match.
Yeah, great performance from, I mean, we should never have doubted them. The draft looked really good for BWC, but Melee Creeps, they pick up Dynamo, they just work that magic, that Melee Creeps magic, and they get it done. So really well played, and I love the call out onto Scout, because it's the first time we've managed to see Scout get to play Paradox, of which, you know, he's such a great player on this particular hero. And so it was fun that, you know, we saw that, and we saw the impact, and, you know, Ido getting onto the Mina. That was a big pickup for Ido that he had a lot of success with when he came back into competitive play. Good to see that also, you know, once again doing its work here for Melee Creeps.
Yeah, it was a nice cleanup for them, and honestly, I just feel like Scout was in Viper jail for most of this day. Oh my god, this was too dirty, bro. Gibbs is gonna be reliving this in his nightmares tonight. This is so painful. Scout turning the kill, dancing under the walker, blocking all the damage, and even staying on the map after, staying healthy, keeping the fight going. Saya with some absolutely dream domes here, letting Fishcake just run rampant. The Shiv Kelvin, apparently it's not dead, man. Still here, still dominating. And this was the fight that really broke the back of Bunny with Clock, and really, I think Melee Creeps started to feel it's over now. We've got this one fully in the bag.
And here are the statistics, the numbers. You can see across the board, it was definitely team performance. Ido actually standing tall on the damage stats, which is cool to see from him. Again, we talked about him having like a pretty solid game on the Mina. In I think a start that was a little bit more troublesome. And then Matt on the other end of things, pretty much equal on damage, like providing also like a strong performance, proving why getting him off of the pocket, like pretty much all series long, was a priority for melee creeps.
Yeah, Aiden having a decent game here, but it's just not enough. Matt as well with some solid performance. Melee creeps just winning so many of those mid to late game team fights here, and the execution was really done well from them. DMB also taking that high econ spot this game, taking over for John, looking amazing. And John in his own right, even with lower eco, still contributing to a ton of those fights. I mean, 4-2 and 26, so he's in like just about as many fights as anyone else. But Scout has to be, at least for game 3, my MVP. 10-2 and 28. This guy is just everywhere across the map. Saya as well, always in those fights. 28 assists for the both of them. Fishcake also with a great start to the game. I think, led the Souls for a little bit into the early game and drew a lot of attention to himself, which actually was pretty important considering overall on the lanes, I didn't like the look for melee creep. So the fact that Fishcake did well, was able to, stabilize things in the early game, keep things on an even keel, was actually really to their benefit.
Yeah, love seeing that Fishcake side connection. The old Sylvan. Hey, we never said that before.
Shelvin. I like
yeah,
a little Shelvin.
we we haven't seen it in a while. It's been deprioritized, but this game it's showed that it still has some pretty big impact. So great performance from Melee Creeps, and that is 9 in a row for them.
9 straight, man. They're building a new dynasty here in North America. It's a lot more contentious than I think in EU right now, where Abrahams are so solidly on top in the night shift and really on top of the region as a whole. But in NA, I mean, there's real contenders. And Pashipop leaving Bunny with Clock. I mean, maybe the floor man, I think, giving them some more time, maybe they could be a bigger force. I think the biggest challenge for that team is going to be, don't disband. You guys lost one game. It's okay. It's all right. You're starting, building a new team from scratch. It's going to take a second. I hope to see them continue to build, because Pashipop also had a great game in that challenger match. And I'd love to see what he could do, given the time and opportunity for that team to gel. Maybe they could be a real threat for Melee Creeps. But for now, the Melee Creeps, 9 in a row champions here at DLNS.
Absolute Giga Chads. And speaking of Giga Chads, let's look at the MVP, who is the most Giga of Chads. It's John.
Oh, John does it again. You got to give it to him. Game 1 was like one of the most destructive performances from a carry that we've maybe ever seen on the night shift. At one point, he was doubling the net worth of pretty much everyone else in the lobby, and I think this Geist performance alone probably secures him the MVP. But the fact that he has something like the Dynamo in the bag is also pretty significant for him, right? That he can, not just play some of these conventional carries, but can also bring out a tech pick when it's just the utility that the team needs in that moment.
Yeah, I totally agree. John showing the versatility and showing the raw power, the reason why he's feared, the reason why you have to be careful to ban him. There's quite a few heroes that are problematic. Doorman was getting banned every single game, and so we didn't get to see the John Doorman, which is so iconic at this point with the gun builds. But instead, we saw the Geist, we saw the Dynamo, and we also saw the Warden as well. So you got the Warden highlights here. In game 2, obviously a lost map, but it was close. This fight in particular, this little exchange here, which would eventually be against the Billy, was one of the reasons for that. As the Vampiric gets back onto cooldown again in about 15 seconds. That fight went on for another 20 or 30 seconds, and then finally into the Dynamo here for a nice finish to the Christmas tree, perhaps.
Yeah, you got to get those snowballs maxed out, of course. I think we even saw a snowball kill in this
We did.
game.
Saya got it.
So
on Kelvin, so that makes it's pretty.
He's got 2 snowballs. That's not fair. He's got a second snowball skill with the holiday tool. It's kind of surprising. Like, no one's really. We haven't seen those be that impactful. I guess they aren't that meaningful. I think I saw some EU players throwing them around, getting into the holiday spirit a little bit. It'd be sad to lose the snowballs for sure.
How much damage does a fully upgraded one do?
I have no idea. I don't think it's like that much. I think it's probably like similar to a low level left click. But it's enough where I guess maybe you weave it in, maybe get some efficiency spam damage on people. Hey, if it does something, it's better than nothing. So you'll take it, right?
100%. Yeah. It's be interesting to see, what developments we'll have in the following week. But I think, overall, by closing down the whole chapter of Bunnywood Clock for this week, even though they lost it, and they had the stand-in coming in with Matt, they looked actually really good. So super excited to see the rest of that journey for them.
Yeah, let's take a look at some of the Prio heroes this week, what we saw in the meta for the top players, what they're looking to pick most of all. Doorman getting a ton of respect bans, this hero. I mean, especially in NA, teams just don't want to see it come out. It's such an X factor. Mina and Pocket, though, rocketing to the top of the standings when it comes to those highly mobile damage characters, kind of unique in their role, but able to do so much in this kind of chaotic early game fighting meta that we see right now. And then Billy Abrams dominating the front line. Paradox, the best of the catch heroes, back on top where she belongs. I feel like this hero is always going to be so good with the amount of utility on the kit.
Yeah, but where's McGinnis?
Rest in peace. She had a good day. She had a good singular match.
I mean, I feel like there was I can't remember which draft it was, but there was a world where I could have seen like a good reason to pick an Infernus, because Infernus is still like decent. It's like, okay. Talon got some buffs. Actually, I think all of his abilities got buffed in the most recent patch from the 29th of December. So, but no Talon. Calico not making an appearance. It's pretty interesting. How this is developing recently. I don't think that we saw a Victor in NA at least. So we saw it in EU, but not NA.
Yeah, I don't think much Victor being played in NA for now. Mirage climbing a little bit. I think that was pretty much all NA playing it. So it's definitely still some big differences between the regions. Interesting that like Calico and Mo are untouched this week.
Yeah.
I mean, those are a little bit surprising. We've seen those heroes pretty often be prevalent, especially Calico when the way people are playing the early game right now. I'm a little bit surprised to not see her in the lineups. Instead, it's a little bit more of the Haze and the Viper, which cool to see them getting a little bit of time in the limelight for some early game tempo play. And definitely just a very fun week of DLNS. A lot of fighting, a lot of action throughout the games, and very little of like the farming stalemates that have, at sometimes characterized other metas.
Yeah, totally agree. And very fresh looks across the board, and I hope it continues to be seen. Cultist seems
still broken.
Still a big priority. Yeah, still a really, really, really good item. I feel like we gained some change here for Connect Dash. I don't know that it was this popular.
Yeah, I mean, it's climbed up a lot here. People actually buying Heal Right more often. Interesting. I mean, maybe that's because people are building it into like the Healing Nova and some of these Ivy styles. We saw Kelvin build it in the last game. Enduring Speed, always kind of a goated item. Warpstone, I mean, this item's never gone away, right? This is just like a bread and butter item for a lot of your heavy frontliners who just are desperate for that little bit of extra gap close. Slowing Hex up 58 places. So Slowing Hex was like untouched before this and is now pretty seriously being bought, which makes sense when you consider all these high mobility heroes being picked in the meta right now. Having that Slowing Hex, worth it for those early game team fights. If it gets you 2 or 3 kills, it's kind of paying for itself.
Healbane dropping down a little bit. Healbane, there was a time when Healbane was like very high up. So interesting to see its slow decline, I got to say. But otherwise, it looks things here look pretty normal.
Yeah, definitely no huge surprises. I hope we'll get a Cultist nerf in the big patch that's upcoming. I feel like Cultist has been too good for too long. They've tried a couple things to nerf. It might need a little bit of that fortitude treatment, just getting absolutely kicked to the curb and maybe brought back slowly over time until it feels like, hey, maybe it's a more safe place in the meta. But 5 Cultist buys per game is a lot. It's definitely the most bought item. Also probably an item that you pretty much never want to sell until it's like ultra late and you're fully slot locked. So so much power from that active. As we say, okay, that's the Prio heroes, the Prio item picks. Of course, we want to say thank you to our patrons who help make the show possible. If you're a patron, stick around after the show. We're going to be doing the Graveyard Shift with Pashi Pop. So if you're a Twitch sub, if you're a YouTube member, all of those are welcome to join us on the Graveyard Shift. You can ask questions directly in the chat. We'll be chatting with Pashi, talking not just about today's matches, but also just getting a little bit deeper into the state of Deadlock at the moment, wish list for patches, where he thinks the meta, the balance is at the moment, and how he sees the competitive scene as well. So always a lot of fun to chat with some of our pro players on the Graveyard Shift. And if you're one of our supporters on Patreon or one of our other social channels, you can join us for those Graveyard Shifts to get your own questions answered.
Do it. Get in there. get into the graveyard shift. It's the post show of post shows. Wait, did ZP just say something, or was that our producer?
I think it's our producer just
Okay.
just trolling us a little bit coming into the close of the show. But that pretty much wraps us up here.
I got so confused. I got trolled. I think the most there.
Yeah, it's another exciting match. I mean, this time Bunny with Clock bring it to a game 3, but Melee Creeps, there's just something different about this team in North America. 9-time champions, and now you got to go for 10, right? I mean, it doesn't mean anything if you can't make double digits. So with every week, the stakes get higher. We're of course back here doing the night shift every single Wednesday, showing you the best in competitive Deadlock. If you want to support us through one of our channels, that's great. If you got a company, you want to sponsor us, hit me up, hit my line. We'll talk details. We'll get your sponsors on the show. We're working on bringing more companies into the fold, supporting this Deadlock community esports space, as hopefully we'll be able to continue to run this long into the future. Obviously, everyone's excited for that patch to drop. Hopefully it comes down before next Wednesday, and we can have maybe one of the first Deadlock esports events of the fresh patches. Everyone in the Deadlock community is eagerly awaiting it.